Do you know where they live? Like, are they married? Do you know their kids' names? Like, do you know what they're into? Like, to the point where you could at least make small talk and to show them that you're interested in them and their well-being. They're going to then in turn care about you. And if they care about you, they're not going to, take that shortcut at the end of the job. That's going to reflect poorly on you. I had so many Marines save my ass in front of the boss for whatever reason, because they picked up the slack where I let the ball drop and they picked it up. Yeah, I focus on the inputs and the outputs will take care of themselves.
This is Conquer Contractor Chaos, built for the contractor that's ready to run a business that works for them and creates the life they've been fighting for. Tune in to get the tools, systems, and strategies that are battle-proven to set you free. One move each episode, straight talk, things you can use today. Take your time back. Be home for dinner. Do the work. Lead your crew. Love your family. Conquer the chaos.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Conquer Contractor Chaos Show. Today, my guest is Nick Hall, founder of Hall's Cabinetry Co. He's a Marine Corps veteran, a husband, a dad, a wrestler, a BJJ practitioner, and an all-out warrior. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lee. That was an awesome introduction. I'm excited to be here. I come after some really impressive guys, so the fact that I can kind of be lumped in to, or with some of those names is an honor. So, yeah, Phil, Kevin McCarthy, some of the other studs in the coaching group. I'm amongst elite company now, so thank you.
There you go, buddy. There you go. Well, we did say that we were going to have you on.
Yeah, I know. When you told me that, I thought, dang, I got a lot of work to do before I'm worth a damn. Just because some of these other guys have impressive resumes, so I'm like, all right, I need to either do something bold or make a name for myself to get on. So, I don't know if I've done it yet, but hey, I at least got on the podcast.
Hey, no, you definitely are, and you're making waves. And if you didn't have a story worth telling, right, we wouldn't have brought you on. So,
thank you.
I mean, obviously, you're a bit of a special case, right? Like you've built this differently than the average guy would have built this, and I think that it's worth, I think you did it right. That's the biggest thing. I think you did it right. I think you built this on the side while you were still active duty, which gave you a massive leg up. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons of that today. But really, I think that you're, if anything, this is an episode that we're going to watch back a year from now, and it's really going to resonate with you. Yeah, like I thought I had problems then, I thought I was successful then. Look at me now kind of situation.
Yeah. It'll be cool. It'll be cool to look back at this.
So let's obviously there's other people listening to this, right? So we want to make sure that they kind of get the full context here. So Nick, sure. Give me like the elevator version of your story, where you came from, where you grew up, getting into the military, and then ultimately getting into the cabinetry business.
Okay. Alrighty, I'll keep it as brief as I can, but if you're watching the video version of this, the first thing you'll notice is my ears. So I was a wrestler. Lee mentioned in the intro, I wrestled from really little, and then I wrestled through college. I wrestled at North Carolina State, and I would say if it's a life lesson that I now have, I either learned it wrestling or in the Marine Corps. There's really nothing I will face in life that will be more difficult than something I encountered doing those two things. I mean, I'm pretty confident. They're just tough things. So I'm so glad I have that background. And I spent, all of my weekends traveling to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, upstate New York, wrestling. I mean, that was it. Saturday, Sunday, I was at competitions. Monday through Friday, I was in practice. It was pretty nuts. And yeah, I just learned work ethic through that, and then did that through college. Once I was a junior in college, I decided to join the Marine Corps. So I went to officer candidate school between my junior and senior year, and then straight after that, I went on to more training, and I was a platoon commander. I went on to serve about 8 years, deployed once, did a bunch of training exercises, spent some time down in Australia training with those guys. But really I would say what's helped me the most was I got to work at the Naval Academy for 3 years. And while I was there, I was fortunate enough to earn an advanced degree and become a teacher. So I was an adjunct professor of organizational behavior and team leadership. So that was a great course. I got to teach for 2 years. I taught a couple other classes, but really it was my time in the classroom and in front of the students there that was just awesome and really shaped my perspective on how I want to be a leader, how I see others as leaders, and I really found a passion for teaching, which I didn't know I had. I didn't know I had until I was forced to do it as a part of my degree, and then I ended up doing it for the next 2 or 3 years. So it was great. Yeah. While we were there, my wife and I, we had our second kid, and we kind of talked, hey, what's after this? Like, what are we going to do after this set of orders? And at this point, I had been building cabinets on the side, nights and weekends, and I was taking on what I would consider small projects now, medium-sized built-ins, entertainment centers, and whatever. And I really wasn't sure what the next step was. And we would have a lot of conversations and say, like, hey, our no-go criteria is anything overseas, because we just had our second kid. I knew I wasn't going to make a career out of this, so it's like, let's just try to get orders back to the East Coast. We'll stay close to family, and we'll get out at kind of like the 10-year mark and ride off into the sunset. All good. And that plan should have worked out fine. I had a good career in the Marine Corps. I had good fitness reports, and pretty much at that point you have a little bit more leverage on the direction your career goes. And we said, our one no-go criteria is overseas, whatever. And then kind of in the 11th hour, the detailer or monitor, the guy that writes your orders, comes and says, hey, man, we got to send you overseas. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, you told me, we could stay on the East Coast and all this. He's like, I know, but I got to send you to Japan for 3 years. I said, okay. We thought about it. We prayed about it. We talked to our mentors. And I said, let's go for this cabinet thing then. So I submitted my resignation. I finished out my orders. And I called you, like, probably the next week. Yeah, because we started in February of 2025. I submitted my resignation in December of 2024. Yeah. So, yeah, I decided, okay, we're going to do this. And then the kind of the chain of events that led or that followed that of us finding the house and the shop and the location that we're in now. And it's a crazy story. And it's my wife and I both consider it divine intervention. So as scary as this can be sometimes, because, leaving a very stable government job and with good benefits and dependable pay to start a business from scratch is pretty terrifying. I mean, a lot of people listening to this can at least relate to the second half of that. Of starting your own business is kind of terrifying. But there were enough signs and I guess, the hand of God along the way for us to know, okay, it's uncertain. We don't necessarily know the future, but we're supposed to do this. And my friend David, I'll send this to him because I hope he listens. He said something to me a few years ago. He said, if you knew all the answers, I wouldn't call it faith. So, and I think about that all the time. So David at Tiller Trade Company, he told me that, years ago, and it's just really stuck with me. And it's been very pivotal in the last, I would say, year and a half of my life. And then here we are. I just exited the service a couple months ago, running Hall's Hardwood and Cabinetry full time. I have one employee, soon to be two. My wife just picked up the administrative role. So technically it's two, yeah. And we're doing it. We're working our asses off and trying to make this thing a reality.
It's a real business.
It's a real business now. Yeah, it's a real business now.
So it was cabinetry or Japan.
It was cabinetry or Japan. And I'm such a red-blooded American, I picked cabinetry.
I love that. We
just knew that if we were over there, we were not going to see our family, but maybe once a year. And we just, that's something we just didn't want to do. And we ended up buying a place 2 miles away from my wife's family. And we've driven past this house and this shop, like, I don't know if I ever told you this, like hundreds of times. It's right outside of their neighborhood. And we drove past it and we're like, man, like that place is like gold. Like one day, we used to joke about it. We would say 10 acres in a shop. We would joke about it. And I submit my resignation, and stand in line to pick Lincoln up from preschool that day. I mean, I had just left work, had submitted the resignation, went to pick Lincoln up. That's my oldest son from school. And I get a text from my mentor, it's my first battalion commander. And he's always been, in my corner. And he said, I'm proud of you. I don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to be successful. And if I could offer one piece of advice, my one regret is I don't live so close to my parents. My kids can't hop on their bike and visit grandma and grandpa. And I was like, okay, like that's cool. We'll consider it or whatever. I just kind of blew it off. That night, I walk in the house and Nicole's on the phone with her mom. And she puts the phone down from her ear and she looks at me and she goes, hey, that house, I'm not going to say the road because there's some freaks out there, but that house on 123 Main Street went for sale today. And like my jaw went through the floor. I was like, are you serious? And like she showed it to me and I was like, oh my gosh, like it was that house we've driven past 1,000 times and said, one day. And so we went for it. And there's 10 other miracles in the process between then and when we got the keys to this place, but nuts.
Yeah. So is it a horseshoe up your ass, or is it the hand that God steers
it's the hand
you
that,
in every...
I mean, it just depends where you stand, right? Some people might think I have a horseshoe up my ass, and I used to think that. Like, all this happened at a very pivotal point in my life, and Nicole used to always say she doesn't believe in luck, she doesn't believe in coincidence, and I'm like, whatever. But I don't know if I do anymore either. So you could toss it up to whatever you like, but I think it was fate. So.
I think, I would say 100% I would agree with you, but I would also say that, like anything else in business, is to do with momentum, right? Like you're making momentum, you've got clear direction, a clear goal picked out, and everything kind of falls in line when you start racking up those wins.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the momentum has a lot to do with that sort of stuff, and just being able to, so many people just go with a path that is clearly laid out for them, and there's something to that. I'm not like I did it for the first 30 years of my life, but you have to do these uncomfortable things. Everything I've done in the last year has been extremely uncomfortable, but I'm listening to you, I'm listening to my wife, I'm listening to my intuition. And it's crazy how when you start kind of going against the grain a little bit, you get these changes, right? Like insanity, they say it's like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It's like you're not going to grow a business or start a business or do this stuff that you've wanted to do your whole life just by doing the same stuff you've done for your whole life. So it's been year 30 was nuts for me, and it's cool.
Yeah, and I think when you're coming from the military where your life is laid out at least for 4-year terms or 6-year terms or 5-year terms, it's easy to kind of just sit back and be like, what will be. You seem like the kind of kid, and I remember this from the first time that I met you. I was like, I need to get this guy in the coaching program because he's going to shake shit up,
Yeah.
And I think you're just that kind of guy that, you're not going to sit back and just let life happen. You're going to take control, and you're really going to push for the best, right? For you, for 100%. Nicole, for the family. Yeah, I always loved that about you. I always thought, like, I said two things, and I remember we had done our discovery call, and I went to my wife. She said, "How was your discovery call?" I was like, "This kid is going to be great, but he's also going to be a major pain in the ass."
I hope I've been both of those for you.
Absolutely, 100%. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think you do need, like, you listen to the advice, but you need to learn it yourself. You're like, okay, I'll trust what these people are saying. I'll take this advice. Let me go try it before I really believe in it.
I'm concrete lessons.
Concrete lessons, buddy. Yeah, 100%. So let's take a look at, like, setting this business up, right? Because obviously, like, it's not like you walked out and this business was handed to you. There was still some work involved, right?
Right.
You took a leap of faith back in February 2025.
Right.
You decided to jump into coaching, before you even had a business that needed to be coached. Walk me through that process. Like, what led you to that point where you made that decision?
Okay. And that's a good time to make a break. Hey, Jimmy.
Sure.
I'm recording a podcast right now with my business coach. Can I get up with you later?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I haven't heard from you in so long. I was like, shit, maybe he finally kicked the bucket. I'm recording a call. Yeah, I'm recording a podcast.
Okay. Wait, I was just going to say what you left.
All right. I'll be done here in a little bit. That's my employee working his ass off.
Work that good with him?
Yeah, so far so good.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I'll let you go.
I didn't mean to call you. I'll get up with you here in a little bit. He was standing by the door. I was like, fuck, don't come in, Jimmy. Don't come in. He's my favorite. He's this old guy who is like the man. Like, anytime, he's 70-something years old. Anytime I'm outside working, like, he'll just roll up with like a shovel or a tractor or a postal digger. Like, he's just a legend. I love this guy. Yeah. So I digress. Thank God for editing. Okay. So what made me dive in for coaching was your question.
Yeah. I want to kind of look at this whole, the backwards builder. You built on the side, turned it into something real, and then stepped right into the day that you retired. Right. There was no break in between. Yep. It was military service ended, retirement. You walked out the door with your box of shit. Yep. You became a cabinet maker or a cabinet business owner, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
But let's go back in the part where you decided to get into coaching, right? Like, why did you think you needed this? What was it that drew you? To this program? Yeah.
So really, it was my background with wrestling and athletics and the military. It's like you never do anything or perform anything, practice or before having a coach, but for some reason, which is the most consequential thing. It's like you either have money or you don't. You can either pay yourself and provide for your family or you don't, right? People will do something with that high of consequences without any coaching, which is just crazy to me with the background I come from. It's like I would never. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to join a wrestling tournament, or I'm going to sign up for a fight, get my ass whooped, and then I'm going to get a coach. It's like you can do that, sure, but it's like, how about I'm going to hire a coach, work with this coach for a year, and then start. Like, that was it just made sense to do that because that's how I would approach a wrestling match. When we qualify on the range, like, we do it after working with the range coaches and putting a bunch of practice rounds down range and then doing it. Before I was able to teach in front of a class, I had to, for a whole semester, shadow another teacher and pick up on that. So anyway, it's just, if you're going to do something, it's like, don't go into a blind sort of deal. But today we have so many resources at our disposal. So there's a bunch of Facebook groups out there, for cabinet makers and, tradespeople, whatever. So I just searched coach and, you start to go through the comments and see who people are recommending. Your name came up a few times. So then I just saw, okay, who's recommended this guy? And then I would look up those people and then add them as friends on Facebook. And then Matt Pierce is the first guy I reached out to. I messaged him and he's like, sure, let's hop on a phone call.
Shout out to Matt.
Yeah, big shout out, man. And he probably spent like 45 minutes on the phone with me, just like a stranger from Facebook, helped me out. And, he had nothing but great things to say. And I was like, okay, it's probably a fluke. So then I talked to somebody else and I don't know who it is off the top of my head, but, two-fact, two-person verified sort of thing. And I was like, all right, let's try it. Let's do it. And then we did it. We had our discovery call and that was great. And then of course, even after that, I was like, oh gosh, like this is kind of a, I'll be honest. I was like, this is a big financial leap for me. This is still a side hustle for me and it will be a side hustle for me for the next year. Like, does it make sense for me to cough up this money monthly or whatever? So then I called my cheapest friend possible who does not own a business and he's just super frugal. And I laid it out for him. He goes, you know what, man? I have a couple Airbnbs and someone offered me a course along the way and I really wish I did it. So he was like, I think you should do business. I was like, okay, if this guy's telling me I should, fork up some cash here, let's do it. So then we did it for a couple of months and I became a believer because I like the accountability of it. As much as I like working for myself, I need to be accountable to somebody. When I was in the military, of course, I had bosses I had to be accountable to, right? Be here at this time. Yes, sir, we'll do it. But I was more so accountable for the people that I led. I had a platoon of Marines, and then I had a company of midshipmen at the Naval Academy. And if I came to work, looking like a bag of ass, and I wasn't good at PT or whatever, my boss wouldn't have said anything, right? But the people below me would have noticed. So I need to be accountable to somebody. And so that's what I liked. Our first session, you were like, you need a website, you need to get insurance, you kind of gave me a list to do. And I was so stoked to go into our first call, our second call, and be like, I did it all, Lee. Like, and you're like, really? I was like, I did it all. I got an email, I have a website, I have this, I have that. And you're like, all right. So I like that. I like the goal setting, I like the accountability.
I remember that point where you walked into your first session and you said, hey, I did it all. And it's funny looking back on, I think you had checked off nine different wins in that, between that first call, strat call, and then your first call. Yeah. There was nine checklists. And hey, like I'm pretty, as a coach, I usually say, I'll give you 6 pieces of homework, but I only really want you to do 2 of them. Right. And you came back and you just smoked every single one. Yeah. Your website, you had your Google My Business was getting set up. You know, you were designing like door hangers. You were getting your design put together.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was like, if you're going to do it, like, do it, you know, like I'm not going to sign up for business coaching, have this guy tell me what to do. And then just not do it. It's like, I might as well burn the money. I might as well waste my time. Anyway, yeah, it's like that. I like the accountability aspect of it. I like being grouped in with other like-minded guys, and it's been good. I've seen the fruits of it. You know,
yeah.
Like, not all those tasks that you gave me were fun to do.
No,
like cold calls, brutal. It's torture. Like if you call 100 people and you have a 2% success rate, well, that's more money than you had, right? It's more jobs than you had. It only takes a couple to kick off and start and you know, snowball into more work. So yeah, we've had some brutal phone calls that afterwards Nicole's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, it was just bad. I was like, I feel like I'm working my ass off and Lee needs me to do X, Y, and Z more. And I'm like, but then I do it and it worked and I'm happy about it. So it's like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like a lot of the lessons are painful but yeah, I haven't followed through on any of those things and been disappointed with the outcome.
Yeah. I love that, man. I think that a lot of guys fall into that trap of thinking that, you know, it feels a certain way or it feels like you're making progress while you're doing those things. And that's not what business is about, right? It's the hard reps that you do every single day. It's discipline. You know, it doesn't feel nice. It doesn't look good, but it leads to a result later on where, you know, you feel like an accomplished entrepreneur.
Sorry, I just like one more thing on that, like, because that's so true. Is I mentioned the cold calls earlier because like I genuinely hated doing them. I'm fine with them now. This was like immersion therapy. It's all good now. But I felt like I was wasting my time, and I would do it in the car because I would drive a ton. And I'd be like, you know, which 10 people are going to tell me to like go pound sand today? But I would do it, and then one person either from Facebook or Instagram or a cold call, or I dropped in their office and gave them a business card. Like a couple of them called me back like months later. And I was like, okay. So it's like one of those things you plant the seed and it takes a little while. But when it you know, comes to fruition, you're like, hell yeah. But in the meantime, you're doing it and you're just like, this sucks.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I really don't want to work out today.
And you do it.
And you do it, you know.
Yeah. And it's just so much better.
Yeah.
You feel so much better.
Yeah, and I think this is partially why I was like, you know, so stoked to bring you on as a client. I was like, because here's a kid who knows nothing but discipline, right? Here's a kid who is operated where discipline over, you know, it's, you know, you can't fail one mission and win another and then fail a mission and then win another, right? It has to be racking up constant wins, and it's all done through preparedness, strategy, planning, discipline, right? And then working through a system. And I think that's definitely why I was like, Nick's going to do great in this program. He's not going to be stoked to do things like cold calls or go put door hangers out or drop lawn signs, or even, you know, when I'm telling you, I'm like, hey, you can't be everything to everyone. You have to cut some of your product line out and just focus on one thing. I knew that those things were going to be challenging, but I knew you would have the discipline to hold yourself to it, and look where you are now, right?
Yeah, I never said no to anything in the last few months, And the jobs that I've said no to have been like, wow. Like, I'll like kind of pat myself on the back. Like, I would have never said no to that a year ago, but like, thank God I said no to that.
Yeah.
Like, that would have just, yeah. The whole product line thing is just like, what do you do and do it very well? It's like, yeah, we're a custom shop. Like, we do primarily, frameless full overlay, Euro. Yes, we're custom. So like, if we need to do face frame, we could do it, but charge accordingly because it's something outside of your wheelhouse. Like your tools, your systems, your training your employees, like are not dialed in for that. Like they are what we're doing right now. Like I have a new guy right now running the CNC and the edgebander while we're on this call because it's a system. Like he recorded a video of me doing it. I talked him through it. He could go back and watch it in my absence. And that's what we're doing. If I threw, hey, I need you to make a face frame with, a 3/32 reveal all around right now, he'd be a deer in headlights. So it's like, should we still offer that? Okay, like that's a decision I got to make, but charge accordingly because our systems are not set up for it.
Right.
So it's,
Which is funny that you mentioned him because that was also a call that we had where you said, oh, I'm really worried about being able to afford this second guy or this guy and bring him into the shop.
Yeah.
And that was this big hill that you had to overcome. And I'm like, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And everyone you spoke to said the same thing. And
I talked to Kevin about that big time. And
for sure.
Talked to Kevin.
It's always the firsts, right? The first time you go to do your design for your logo, the first time you buy a vehicle, the first time you buy a CNC machine, the first time you hire an employee is, I think, having someone in your corner there to kind of bounce that off of. It's never going to be a bad thing. But I'm glad you did because think of where you're going to move forward. And I remember this from your strategy planning call as you said, I don't want a big team. I just want to have like me and a couple of guys. We don't want a ton of money, Things are changing in real time and it's dynamic and it's kinetic and you need to be able to respond to that in real time. And I think that you've got a whole circle around you of guys who have been through it before. And I think that's helped you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like I called Kevin about the employee, obviously after I spoke to you as well. And I laid it all out and he's like, well, if you don't hire him, can you send him to me? And I was like, oh, maybe I should. But he said the same thing. Like, dude, I remember like how scared I was like the first time I hired somebody. Like, here's what's going on. I was like, oh, he gets it. Like he knows. Like this advice isn't coming out of thin air. So I'm glad I went through with it. And he's here. Michael, he's part time still, so I get him like 3 or 4 days a week now. Last week I was like, yo, how did I plan on doing this without him? It's like I would have been working even more than I already am. So, but yeah, I'm sure once I get the next guy, it's going to feel the same way.
It's not about buying the CNC machine and taking on the risk of the lease. It's not about the investing in that vehicle. It's you're scared on what you can do yourself personally, because that's the real common denominator here is how much faith do you have in yourself to be able to turn that into something that that works really. Yeah, man. Let's do this. Let's talk about the kind of build up to you retiring, going full time, because just to paint the picture on either end, here's this kid. He's got an idea. He's kind of been forced into this decision because he doesn't want to go to Japan. Hires the coach, builds his circle a little bit.
Yeah.
When you walked into your business, what did you have the day you walked in retirement? What did it look like?
I had a shop that was fully set up, so fully, up on power, meaning I had all the electrical in place. I had a CNC in place, the bander, the compressor, dust collection, the whole deal. I had received training on all of those systems, which is very important. I had a business plan. I had insurance, a website, kind of the whole administrative package taken care of. And most importantly, I had about 4 months of work lined up for me. And the day I went and I got my DD-214, if there are any veterans listening, they know what that is. That's essentially the paper that says you're a civilian now, go on. I drove back to my shop and said, okay, let's start. Like we have a job that's due next month and then a few more after that. And it was all good. So, if you want to, and we have the time to, I would like to speak to the people who are in a situation where they're at a job or a different career and they're looking to take what probably started as a passion of woodworking or cabinet making and turning that into a business, because I just did that. I was very nervous to do it, and I posted about this maybe 3 years ago in one of the Facebook groups, and I got a lot of good advice, a lot of bad advice, but I went and I did it. And yeah, and so far it's working out. So it is possible to kind of build this business on the side and give yourself an off ramp. So, it's like all of a sudden your paycheck cuts off and you're like, oh shit, what now? So yeah, that's what day one looked like for me.
Yeah. And I'll say this as well, as what you managed to build. You built it in a different city where you weren't there, right?
That is an important factor here. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So to summarize, essentially what you've done, Nick, is you've built a business in a different city with no reputation, no connections really, right? Other than some family, no equipment, no shop. And you've done that in 12 months to get to the point where now you've walked in, you've got a business that's highly reviewed. You've got referral partners in the interior design and GC space, right? You've got a flow of leads, you've got people, you've got shop, What do you think would have happened if you had waited? If you were like, I'll just wait until I get out and then I'll figure out life afterwards?
I would be screwed. Like, for lack of a better word, like if I didn't build an off ramp for myself, I would be. I mean, let's say I'm doing calls today to try to find work. There aren't a lot of people that need cabinets built tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Like they're having their house built and they're collecting bids, and you need to bid it and draw it and all that stuff. And all of that takes time. If I waited to build those relationships or buy the machines or get trained on all this stuff until I was done with my previous career, I'd be screwed. I'd be without experienced relationships for months. I mean, that stuff takes a while to build. So yeah, like Lee mentioned, like I was doing this in a different city. I was actually doing it in a different state. So my last duty station was up in Arlington, Virginia, so the National Capital Region. And I would stay with a friend during the week, and during the weekends, I would drive home to where we live. We're right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. So that's like 5 hours. So during the week, during lunch breaks, after work, while I was driving to and from work, I am calling contractors, calling interior designers. At night, I'm like, creeping on their Instagrams, liking their stories, commenting on their posts, just like starting conversation. I still put out 2 kitchens during that time. I was away for about 8 months. So 2 kitchens, like obviously that's nothing to brag about. Some people are doing that in a week, right? But I was only in my shop 2 days a week. So what I would do is while I was up there, I would, design everything in CAD. I use Mozaik. I would outsource to other shops like Glenn Chua, shout out Glenn Chua. He would cut parts for me. I'd pick them up on my way into town, assemble them on the weekend. Like, it was crazy, but I would do it because I was building that off ramp. And then if by chance I was able to be home, so like in the Raleigh area during the work week, I'd hit the road. Right, I'd throw on the one polo that I had, my pack of business cards, and I'd go and drop them off at places and stuff. Posting in Facebook groups, finish up a job, post it in the local Facebook group. Hey, I'm new to town. I do this kind of work, just sharing it. Let me know your thoughts on this kitchen sort of deal. Some people would reach out to me months later. Hey, I saw your post on Facebook. Are you still doing this kind of work? Yes, I am, So it's a long game, and starting that as soon as you can, the better, right? Like the best time to plant a tree 25 years ago, second best time to plant a tree today. So if you're not doing that, start. If you're already swimming in work, great. Then carry on about the plan of the day. But if you're not, there are probably 10 things you could do right now from your desk that would generate work. And if it doesn't generate work immediately, it will generate work eventually.
Yeah. I think there's so many guys out there who they quit their job, they have a fallout with their boss. They say, screw this, I'm going to go start my own thing. And they expect it just to fall into their lap. And they don't understand that this is farming, right? It's not hunting, it's farming.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. And it might happen for some guys, and good for them, but I don't think that happens to most guys.
I think you nailed this as well, where you said, what kind of GC or interior designer or any kind of significant house build needs a cabinet maker tomorrow? And it's just, the answer is either somebody extremely disorganized or someone who's just lost their cabinet maker that they were working with because they couldn't find a good way to work with each other. Do you really want those clients anyway?
Right.
You know? And then, like you said, by giving yourself a good runway out, 4 months, 5 months worth of work that's booked in advance, it gives you unlimited options to say, well, let me change who my ideal client is. Let me change what my ideal product offering is. Let me change how much I charge. What's my charge rate, right? Because if I've got a buffer, maybe the job I take in month 5 is 10% higher than the ones that I've taken, right? So I think you've really done a good job of putting yourself in that position. But I also think there's a bit of a kind of misalignment on how a successful business actually operates, you know?
Yeah.
And if there's guys listening to this podcast episode, if there's one thing to take away, it's the little reps. It's the hard work, right? Like the annoying cold calls, the building relationships. Now, I don't want to give away the whole program in this episode.
Yeah, I know. I was through my rant. I was like, I should probably shut up. He's going to be like,
no.
You're giving away good stuff.
But you know, I think a lot of guys also look into coaching as some sort of silver bullet because they don't want to do that stuff. They're like, tell me the one secret to getting lots of great clients with the right jobs with the right product. And the thing is they already know the answer. There's no magic button or silver bullet that you can fire off, and it's just going to bring you all of those great leads. It's the little reps, it's the discipline, and it's when nobody's watching, right? Like, you need to have a certain level of integrity and a little bit of, you know, tenacity in yourself to be like, you know, I could drop off a call with you and know that you're going to go do the work. A lot of guys will be like, I'll start on Monday,
right?
You know, or I'll start next week. By which point you've missed, you know. And it's funny how it compounds, because if you don't make a call today, that's a week without work 6 months down the road. If you don't make 5 calls today, that's a month of being quiet in the slow season, you know, 12 months from now. So it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Whatever you don't do today comes back to kick you in the ass, you know, a few months down the road.
Yeah. And like, just never like miss an opportunity, I guess, to bring up what you do, or, you know, wear something with your brand on it. I just listened to the episode with Kevin McCarthy, and you said, you know, what does the school pickup line look like, right? Because he was talking about how, you know, the school he has his kids in. His response was, well, I can tell you there's a big Legacy Wardrobes wrapped truck in that line. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, that's, you know, so all that sort of stuff. And just never miss an opportunity to tell people what you do or whatever. There's another guy I talked to for a while. His name's Caleb. He owns a company called Redbeard Cabinets. And I watched him take the leap maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And he kind of said the same thing. He's like, man, I would, like, you know, knock on windows in the Lowe's parking lot. And he's like, one day I just happened to, you know, walk into a place to introduce myself. And I walked in and they were like in the middle of trying to find a cabinet guy. So he's like, you just never miss an opportunity to let people know what you do. Like, what's the worst? Like, they need something that doesn't fit your schedule. You just say, sorry, I can't do this right now, but maybe in the future. So,
right.
You know, yeah, I don't want to come off in any way like I have this all figured out. If you guys could listen to Lee and I's last coaching call, it was pretty much like, you know, 30 minutes of me identifying problems in my business that we're going to fix. Yeah.
But those are problems that you didn't know existed before until you had reached this point.
100%.
Yeah, it's like every time you climb the mountain, you look up and you're like, oh shit, there's another peak to this, you know? And you're like, oh, well, let me go back into the Valley of Despair and back up the Peak of Enlightenment and then back in it, you know?
Are you talking Dunning-Kruger effect on me right now?
Yeah, the transition curve, buddy, you know it.
But in one of our like recent calls, I said something. It was like, I spent way too much money on this glass for cabinets or whatever. Yeah. You're like, well, did you charge like extra for that type of glass? I was like, I didn't know I had to. Like, I didn't even know it would have been extra.
Yeah.
But now.
But now, yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, I think you need to look at not only what you've done so far, but also this entire year of being full-time as this is a big concrete lesson for you. You know,
big time.
If you don't learn every lesson this year and make changes to your systems, your processes, your contracts, right?
Yeah.
How are you ever going to get past 7 figures, right? How are you ever going to get into 5 million? Because the wheels will fall off. right?
Yeah,
The
they
wheels
will.
fall off. The way that I like to explain it to people is like, it's kind of like building a house. Like, what do you do first when you're building a house? You pour a solid foundation, and the more solid that foundation, the longer that house is going to last.
Yeah,
And
100%.
then what goes, and your foundation is your core values, your vision statement, your vision roadmap that we build in your strat calls, right? Like picking the direction that we really want to push in. That's our MET TC, right?
TC,
For the military guys out there. I know you Americans love your MET TC.
we love, yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
And then what comes next is the walls go up, right? The walls are our guardrails. That's our processes, our systems, our SOPs, our rules that we operate in, right? Our ROEs. And then what comes next? You put the roof on, right? What does a roof do?
Protects you.
It protects you, right? Your contracts, the conversation, the communication you have, and then lastly, you get the nice fancy interior, right?
Yeah.
That's when you get the nice shop and you get the nice, storage racks and all the nice to haves, but you don't really need it. Same for you, man, as you've spent the last 12 months building that foundation and putting your guardrails up, every lesson you learn from here is going to be to strengthen the roof that you put on it. It's that layer of protection. And I think you're doing a great job of that for sure. Obviously, you've still got a lot of lessons that you need to go through, right? You've still got a lot of pain that you need to feel. But you're a wrestler, man. You learn when things get painful.
That's right. Yeah. Now, I will say, like, the downside, like, of that and of the, like the wrestling and the Marine Corps background is, like, if plan A fails, like, plan B is just, like, do plan A but harder.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? So, like the other day, like, I was, like, we ran into some snags out on an install or whatever, and it's like, how are you going to fix it? I was like, just wake up at 4 a.m. and just, like, redo it, like, before the workday starts, and then I'm not behind anymore. Like, which is true, but it's like, if you give it that approach to every like, shortfall in your business, like, I'm going to burn myself out if I keep doing stuff like that. And, like, anybody would. So it's like, yeah, sometimes we have that kind of, thick skull mentality of fixing problems, and that's when you need, like, someone detached from the situation, like you, or even like a spouse or whatever, because they're just gonna look at the problem different. Be like, have you tried this? Right. So that's what it is. I don't know if you ever, like, because for those of you that don't know, Lee was also in the military. He doesn't talk about it enough. It's like, if you were ever, like, overseeing some sort of training and you're watching people like that you're training do something, you're just like, why aren't they doing it this way? Like, why aren't they doing X, Y, and Z? It's like, well, when you were in their position, you didn't do it either. You could only see the answer now because you're removed from the situation. So the same thing goes with a coach. It's like, when they're removed from the situation, so they're going to analyze it from, like, a 10,000-foot view. Like any good coach or good teacher or good mentor is going to do. It's not just applies to business. So yeah, just surround yourself by those people that are going to give you that good advice. But yeah, I gotta watch out, because sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll just work more.
Yeah. And it's hard not to, right? It's hard not to say I'll just do it myself. Right? Yeah. It's hard to say I'll get myself out of this problem. But like I said, it's you can learn, you can do it once. You can do that. You can go fix it yourself once. You can wake up at 4 a.m. and jump in and remake that stuff once. Yeah. The question is how do I not have to do that again? And it comes back to that age-old saying of, what is the difference between a smart man and a wise man? Smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from other people's mistakes. Yeah. It's really hard to learn from other people's mistakes,
Yeah. Yep.
Which is funny. I mean, I built a whole coaching business around, all of my failures, right? The best lessons that you guys implement now come from some sort of physical, emotional, or financial pain that I had to go through with my business in order to get there, right? I'm not saying I nailed it every time and I'm great. There was a lot of suffering,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it builds character. It builds character, right?
Oh, 100%. What was it, Laurent, that said, like, all, like, his contract is essentially like he could put a name to each line in his contract of, like, I added that to this person, I added this because of that person. It's like, yeah, I do things this way because of a screw up I had on this job or that job. So, yep, lessons learned in blood are soon not forgotten.
Your contract is not just a thing you hand to your customer. It's a written history of everything you've messed up in your business.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, for sure. But no, this is great, man. And I mean, I don't talk about my military service a lot because I was the worst kind of guy in the military, right? I was the worst up until, and this isn't about me, this is about you, but like everything was, I was a complete whiner. The winners versus whiner conundrum, right? Like the comparison, it was like scarcity mindset. If you got something, it meant I lost something.
Okay.
I was just too young. That was the thing, is I was just too young, too dumb.
Yeah.
If you listen to my episode with Kevin McCarthy, I had a really shitty childhood. Like, not a shitty childhood, but a pretty rough childhood.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I had a big chip on my shoulder and thought I knew everything. And it wasn't the right place for that environment. I learned a lot from that, though.
Of course. Yeah. And like with my, like what I did in the military, like when I hear shit like that, what I think is like, damn, his leadership failed him then. Right? Like, that I know you don't want to say that because you're like an ownership type person, like you want to take ownership of it all. But like I had probably 3 of what you just described in my platoon or at the Naval Academy, my company. Like here's a good story. And I mentioned this on one of like the contractor coffee breaks. I had 2 kids in my platoon who, and this was like my first tour, and they were so smart. And one of them's name was Sheldon, which is hilarious because he like totally, it was like too on the nose. Like he looked like a Sheldon, like from whatever that sitcom is, like really brainiac type kid, so smart. And then we had this other kid who's a radio operator, same deal. Like he talked to me about radios, and it's like black magic. I'm like, dude, I want to press the button and make sure it talks to that guy. Like that's it, right? And he would make it happen. It's a thing in the military where, like, if somebody's good at something, you make fun of them for it. I don't know why. But it comes from a place of love. We would, bust their chops for being so smart. Like 6 months or 8 months into being a platoon and like getting ready to deploy together, we found out that neither of them graduated high school. And we were like, "Are you kidding me?" Like we thought they were messing with us. We were like, "You didn't graduate high school?" They're like, "No, I dropped out in 11th grade." And this other kid was like, "Yeah, I got my GED on my own. Like I hated school, couldn't do it." And we're like, I would have received this information better from literally anybody else in this platoon. Like, it's you two. Like, yep, both of us. Neither of us. And I was like, I feel like your teachers failed you, right? Like, you just they did not, find like what makes this person tick, like what motivates this person, and get your energy in that direction. Because I'll tell you, this one kid like knew everything about radios. He loved it. And like you're telling me you couldn't have tapped into that in a classroom setting and fired this kid up for something. The other guy, he was a gunner, meaning like he shot the missiles, and he was like kind of into it. Like it's missiles, like they're cool. But his passion was vehicles and military, like military grade Humvees or whatever. Like they're all just in bad shape. Let's just put it that way. I was like, you love vehicles? Or everybody's like, oh, I love it. Like he's turning wrenches on the weekend. I was like, you're in charge of our platoon's vehicles then. Like we can't rely on the S4. Like that's the logistics guys. Like it's their job to fix our vehicles. I'm like, they're so swamped. Like I need you. Like you are our platoon's direct liaison to making sure these things work. And it was like I gave him a Christmas present, and like he was so stoked for it, So yeah, like that. It's not that like you are motivated or not motivated. Like there's no such thing as not motivated, by the way. It's what are you motivated by? Yeah. Right? Like it's like, okay, this guy slept in and didn't go to work on time. Or this guy ate and didn't go to the gym. So like he's not losing weight or whatever it is. It's not that they're not motivated. He's just more motivated by sleep than he is going to the gym. Or more motivated by food than he is going to the gym or whatever. So anyway, like that's your job, is like find out what this person likes, what makes them tick, and like get them in that role. Yeah. Right. So
I actually loved it when you brought that up when we were doing our leadership boot camp, and you said, when we were asking the question is, when does a C player become an A player? When does a B player become an A player? And you said,
put them in the right role,
give them the right level of motivation, and you point them in the right direction.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything you do or don't do ties back to motivation. Like whether or not you brushed your teeth today or decided to put on, your branded stuff, even though you probably had to like change out of something else, or show up to work on time. Like it all comes down to your level of motivation for it. And I used to teach theories of motivation at the academy. So of course I look at everything through that lens, but it's hard to argue against it.
Yeah. Can we stay on that subject for a second, because I do want to dive into that a little bit, and obviously try and capture some of those transferable skills that you had between, you know, teaching leadership, walking into a business, and the only person you had to lead was you, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So just to summarize for the guys who maybe jumped in later in this podcast, or if you're seeing this on a social media clip, you spent 3 years teaching at the Naval Academy, teaching leadership, strategy, how to develop people. And then you stepped into running a cabinet shop. Like, what transferred directly? What did you have to completely unlearn? Or what are you feeling like you're having to unlearn now that you're in the business full time?
I kind of touched on it earlier. There's not a lot I have to unlearn, but there is a lot that's different. I used to have to show up for others every day. Like, whether I wanted to or not, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I had to teach an hour-long lesson, right? Like, no matter how I felt about being at work that day, like I had to stand in front of my company of 140 people and address them and motivate them to do stuff that they didn't want to do. Like the kid that got recruited there to play lacrosse, I have to somehow get through to this kid that passing that chemistry exam is just as important. That's like a tall order. But when you get that out of people, it's the best. Like there's no drug like it. Like getting people to go from a C player to an A player, or realize that they've been an A player this whole time, they've just been a shitbag and motivated by the wrong stuff. Dude, it's awesome, right? Like when you get that out of people.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. It's so fulfilling. And then coming here, I've been in the shop alone for the most part. It's totally different. Like I'm a social guy. I talk a lot. I like talking. And when I was at work, I was essentially with my friends all day. But here I am working alone in my backyard. Like for those that don't know, like my shop is on my property. It's about a 2,200 square foot pole barn. But so it's how do you get motivated? Like I was motivated because I owed something to like 100 plus other people every day. Now I owe a kitchen to someone who's kind of mean to me until they get their kitchen. They're like, I'm just a contractor to them, right? Yeah. To other people, like this sounds like kind of hilarious. Like I matter to them. To me, like to others now, like I'm just their cabinet maker. Yes, I have a family. I have a wife. I'm accountable to those guys, but it's a little different. Different dynamic. So it's just a big shift. It's a big shift that I'm still working through and finding ways to be accountable to myself. But I will tell you, like, just being very, very honest with you, I am a better version of myself when I know, like, Mike is coming into work. Like, if he wasn't coming in today, I can kind of have my programs ready to run at my leisure. The shop could kind of look however it looks. It's fine. It's my shop or whatever. But, like, I know I have employees coming into work today. Like, the program is ready to run by 8 because he's showing up at 8. Like, the tools are where they are supposed to be. Because it is my expectation that he'll put them back there at the end of the day. So it's like, because I was accountable to somebody else, I was a better person. And the shop is going to run better. And he's going to run better. So going at this thing solo, man, like, I thought I would like it and I thought it would be good. But I'm much better when I have other people around me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're setting the standard for the guys that are coming into the shop every day. Even if, again, like I said, it's doing the hard thing. I don't want to clean up at the end of the day because there's no one coming in tomorrow. But wait, there's a guy coming in the next day. How do I want it to be left when they leave the shop moving forward?
Yep. And it's like I'll leave the shop some days like without sweeping up or whatever. But like Mike, I had to go do something and he was still in the shop. And when I came back, he was gone. And he swept up everything. The shop looked great. Like he left the shop in great condition. And I was like, damn, like I need to make sure that I'm doing the same thing. So like this is the expectation. And I could very, very well just tell him, hey, the expectation is you sweep the shop at the end of the day, whatever. But if he comes in the morning and looks like an indoor tornado took place the night before, he's like, wait, this dude expects me to sweep the shop up every day? And he lives 100 feet away and he left it looking like this? That's like, dude, you can't do that. So yeah, I've never had to tell him to sweep the shop. I sweep the shop is swept.
Yeah.
Well, when he's working. So
Yeah, it's not rules for thee, but not for me because I'm the boss, right?
it's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but it's the opposite. Is the rules are way more strict for you. Like when you're the boss, they need to be.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, and like if you came to our coaching session and you were like tired and like yawning or whatever, I'd be so pissed. I'd be bothered. I would legitimately be bothered by that. But it's
right. So that's a really good point, because here's the thing, man. Right? Like I've done 40 coaching calls a week. Right?
Yeah.
I've done the whole like 7-8 hours back to back Zoom calls, and I realized that those guys at the end of the day, they did not get a good coaching session compared to the ones at the start of the day. You know, so I had to make some choices from that myself and say, well, listen, I need to show up for these guys. Like I need to be there. Set the example. When they're not motivated, I need to be motivated. When they're not excited, I need to be excited, you know, if they're feeling it. But and it's the same for you. Capacity, right? Like I can't do 100 kitchens really, really cheap so that, you know, I can get all these clients happy, because you're just going to bring yourself out and give everybody a shitty service. So it's the same on my side as well.
Yeah. Like you could roll up to our coaching session and be like all tired or whatever. And be like, sorry, you're like my, you know, 5th or 6th call today or whatever. I'd be like, okay, like I'm like, I had empathy. So I'd be like, you know, I get it. I'd be tired too. But most people would be like, okay, like that has nothing to do with me. Like it is not my fault that you've had 6 coaching sessions today and I'm on your set. Right. I'm here for you. Like we're here in this together. I'm paying you. Like I expect this. Like I have expectations with that. So
yeah, 100%. Any good coach, like, you know, and again, I don't care about the money. It's about the progress. It's about the result. Because at the end of the day, who does that go back to? The coaching determines whether you're sitting at that dinner table with Nicole and Hank and Lincoln at 5 p.m. and you're not burnt out and you're not stressed out and you're there to be that. That's you know our whole mission here for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
What's the difference between leading civilians and leading Marines now that you've got a guy on the team?
I honestly, like, my approach to leading Marines and sailors, because I was at the Naval Academy for 3 years as well. So, my leadership style like really works for both. The easy answer and like the obvious answer here is like in the military they have to listen, which is kind of true. That's like if I'm telling somebody to do this and I'm like the senior officer appointed over them, like they have to listen. Like if it's a lawful order. A civilian doesn't have to listen. They could just be like, F you, I quit, see you later. Right? Like, but it's like, no. In the military, it's like, no, you have 3 years left on your contract. I'm in charge of you. Do it or you're in violation of a direct order. Right? So it's like, yes, you can lead that way. Like if you're an absolute moron and suck at leading. So it's like, but I never did that. Like I never had to do that, thankfully. Like I just took a very human approach to it and tried to get down to like their intrinsic value and what motivates them and try to leverage that to get them to get them to do what I needed them to do and get them to see like, all right, what do you want out of this experience that you're having here in the military? And how can you doing what I need you to do also accomplish that task? Right. And it's like, you get people to do things a little bit more so because they want to and less because they have to. So I don't think taking that approach is going to be a whole lot different with civilians. So far it hasn't been. But like I said, like I'm leading one guy. It's Mike. He's here about 4 days a week. You know, I will say this is true, and this is probably applies to some other guys. So my other employee is my wife. And the way I approach that is completely different than the way I approach, you know, other guys. And I should probably approach leadership as far as business matters concerns with my wife like I do with Mike. Like I'm way more patient and understanding and pull out some more like varsity leadership with him and not like my safest person in the world who's my wife. Like, you know, other people can relate. Like your spouse becomes your safe person, and they sometimes see the worst version of you because that's your safe person. And sometimes I maybe let that creep into my, I guess, leadership style and philosophy with her, and I shouldn't do that. So I'm glad you brought that up. I think that kind of answers your question. I can't see your
No,
face
it does.
expressions
No,
because
it totally
it's
does.
froze, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it totally does. I think the big takeaway is that yeah, like in the military, you could have forced people to do things where you used good leadership and kind of understanding where people were at and meeting them there in order to get them to do things for the
Yeah.
most part. But I think so many guys, they're still in that whole carrot and the stick style of leadership, which they don't understand the damage that it's causing to their entire business through, the motivation or the productivity or the future growth, right? Like I've definitely worked for guys where I knew a stud that was needing a job, but I would not recommend them to come work at this company because the guy who runs it is an asshole,
Yeah.
Um,
I know that kind of stinks, but I mean, you're doing the right thing in that scenario, but it just sucks that scenario exists.
Yeah, 100%. And it exists a lot more than the typical guy thinks it is. But I think it is important to say, well, what does leadership look like in a professional setting where there's, not only you have to do this or you'll get written up or you're going to, whatever the consequences were, I don't think that just because it's the military, you can't have a similar structure of accountability. It just has to be more of a leadership accountability rather than disciplinary, right?
Yeah, and I used to tell guys because it was like pretty rare, but I would have like some peers that would maybe like question my leadership style, and it's not like I was like broing it out with like the most junior guy in the platoon, or like broing it out with a freshman at the Naval Academy or whatever. Like you just like they're humans, like they're still like even the youngest guy is going to be like 19 years old, like. Yes, they're still kids in a sense, but they're not as dumb as sometimes like we treat them,
Yeah.
And I would just tell them, but look, they understand like my position and my rank, and they understand their position and their rank. Like there's no need to remind them of that every time we have a conversation. It's like they understand it, and if you're not like running your organization with enough, I guess, like maturity and empathy and leading by example, like. Yeah, maybe you don't have that liberty, but if you are doing all that stuff right, like you'll be able to level with people and get what you need out of them. That's going to accomplish both of your ends. So
yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah, that's been my approach. And I really, you can probably just tell from the way I talk about this stuff. Like I love leadership. I love what it is capable of getting others and organizations to do. So I am excited to grow my business past 1 or 2 employees, or break out into something else where I can help other people. And I'm only as passionate about this as because I'm the product of good leaders. I was talking to my first battalion commander this morning, and now I've known him for 10 years at this point. And all the guys that got me through training when I was in college, and then straight away into the service. I had so many guys that were patient with me and were great leaders, and I benefited from that. And I just hope to be like that for other people. And so like that's one reason why I'm excited to grow the size of my business.
Because you'll get to expand your leadership to more people and really,
Yeah. It's good to do it with one person, obviously, but it's like, if you could have more of an impact, like you're doing a lot more better for your business and for the world if you could do that for more people. So.
For sure. Let me ask you this, because I'm sure, like you said, you've been on the Facebook pages, you've been on those forums, you've seen these guys that are in there. More than likely, you've seen the post where guys are like, just scale it all back. It's not worth being, growing a big team. It's not worth having the headache of having employees. Like, what would you say to those guys?
Well, I would just have to listen and nod because I haven't grown big enough to say that they're right or wrong, right? Because like they might be wrong, but I would also, I don't know. I would encourage them to maybe take stock of their position in the company. If you're running the company and you're having that many headaches, and I don't know, maybe there's something you could do to fix that. It's like there are plenty of successful businesses that have 10, 20, 50 employees. Yes, obviously there are headaches and whatever, but no bad teams, only bad leaders. Is that always true? Yeah, always is a tough word to throw around, but it's true a lot of the times. Right? And I can think of some big shops right now have phenomenal leaders at the top of them, and they would disagree with that sentiment. scale it all back, be a one-man band and be happy. So
I would agree with you, man. I think before you can really make that claim that it's easier to not have employees or have a smaller team, potentially look at yourself first and just say, was I equipped to have a big team? Did I have the leadership skill set? Did I have the right mindset? Did I have the right vision on where I was trying to get to that included having a big team? As someone who's had a big team, up to 40 with my previous business and then 70 with the business before that, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. But, the thing that gets you through is how do you, what is your mindset of having a team? Are you here to serve them? Right. And that's what my mantra was. It was always, if we have great people and we treat them well, they will look after our customers and make them happy. And if we have happy customers, we'll make good money. And it was always that hierarchy.
100%. Dude, and you just said, when you asked me earlier, what's the difference between leading military versus civilians? That was my approach there. You focus on your inputs, right? Your people, taking care of them, they're gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let you fail, right? So when you had 40 guys, you're taking care of them, looking after them. Even simple stuff, do you know where they live? Are they married? Do you know their kids' names? Do you know what they're into? To the point where you could at least make small talk and to show them that you're interested in them and their well-being. They're going to then in turn care about you. And if they care about you, they're not going to, take that shortcut at the end of the job that's going to reflect poorly on you. Man, I had so many Marines save my ass in front of the boss for whatever reason, because they picked up the slack where I let the ball drop and they picked it up, So yeah, I focus on the inputs and the outputs will take care of themselves.
100%. 100%. I think it was Matt Popesel, who's at this time of recording, the podcast is probably out now. He said it best. He said, when was the last time that you picked up the phone and called one of your employees' wives and said, hey, listen, I'm really sorry that I've had to keep them back at work this week, but really appreciate you holding down the fort at home.
Yeah. Or dude, that is a classy move right there.
100%.
That is a gold star move right there. 100%.
100%. Yeah. And I said, dude, you can tell if somebody cares by the details that they remember. Mm-hmm. It's not about the big ticket items. It's not about when you got that last pay raise. It's the guy that remembers your wife's name or remembers that you were going to your kid's ball game this weekend, Yep.
Yeah. It's little stuff like that. It's those little unsexy, almost petty details that you latch onto and care about, and they pay dividends.
Yeah. I think you brought up as well in the last one, and shout out to David at Tiller Trade Co, because those guys are just absolutely crushing it on I watched those guys' Instagram pages, and where they gave their employees the planer with the gold plaque on it and stuff.
Yeah,
it's those little things.
It was perfect. Really chef's kiss right there. Because you could just promote somebody, you could bring someone to the office and be yeah, we're gonna make you whatever. I'm gonna give you an extra $2 an hour, whatever. Or you could recognize them, make a custom thing for them. Wow, this whole thing was thought out. They got my name engraved on a planer, and I'm gonna hang this on my mantle. My kids are gonna ask about it, and I'm gonna tell them, and they're gonna think wow, my dad's the man. I don't know. When he did that, he's super busy. So when I get him on the phone call, I just get straight to whatever I need him to help me with. But I commented on his post. I was dude, this is that's good. That's leadership right there. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I want to change tact. I want to switch gears here a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your athlete career.
Okay.
And I want to talk specifically about jiu-jitsu for a second.
No, well, I don't do jiu-jitsu really anymore. I was doing it a little bit when I was at the academy. It was wrestling that was mostly my whole career was pretty much all wrestling.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I want to talk about lessons on the mat for a second.
Okay.
If you're okay to talk about that.
Yeah, 100%.
Gotcha. Okay. So, obviously that's been a big part of your building character, your discipline, your tenacity. How do those values show up in your business every day as an athlete?
Okay, so wrestling the first thing that comes to my mind is like weight cutting. And then, so with wrestling, it's one of the uglier parts of the sport. A lot of sports have it, jiu-jitsu has it, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, like it's all weight classes. Wrestling is no different. And I started cutting weight too early, right? Like I was cutting weight at probably 12, 13 years old. It's way too early. But then as you get to the more senior levels, it's like, you're cutting a good amount of weight, and it's tough. No one can cut that weight for you, right? Like, you could be a business owner and whatever, and you could outsource this and automate that, and it's like no one's getting you down to 174 pounds or 184 pounds or whatever your weight class is besides you.
This is pre-Ozempic, by the way.
This is pre-Ozempic. This is way, yeah. And I kind of feel the same way now. It's like, my wife, we made this decision a long time ago before we were even married, and we talked about what we wanted to do when we grew up. And she said, I want to be a mom, And so she did work for a little while, but once we started having kids, stopped. And we like it that way. We're going to keep it that way as long as possible. Yeah, she'll do some admin stuff for me up in the house, but for the most part, she homeschools the kids and she takes care of the kids. So it's on me, man. Like, if I don't, right now, like where my business is, if I don't sell that next job, if I don't get this product out the door, if I don't get the Google reviews and capitalize on the install and do all, like, keep everything tight, like, it's on me. And I'm the owner of the company, so even if I had 10 people, it's still on me. So, when you're wrestling, you're in the middle of a mat, there could be 10,000 people watching you. It is you versus somebody else. There's no offensive line or defensive line to help you. There's no one bailing you out, man. It is you, and you're the man in the arena. And I do feel a little bit like that right now. And, cutting the weight, it's like no one's getting the weight off. No one's running the miles besides you. So I think that's good. This is maybe kind of take a negative twist on your question, but there's plenty of positives I learned from the sport as well. And it's a lot of sports that you could learn these lessons in, but wrestling for me, it's the only sport I played. But so it's a physical sport. So like someone's trying to hurt you and physically beat you or dominate you. And there's an added aspect to that. But also it's a one-on-one sport, like I said. So business could feel lonely sometimes. I've experienced that in the very short time that I've been in business. But you have a team to kind of fall back on when you're off the mat. And that's kind of what I have with my circle and a lot of guys in the Brave Academy group. There's another thing that I really want to talk about that I learned from wrestling. Actually came from a big setback. So I actually stopped wrestling halfway through my senior season. Go through high school, I was really good. And I could say that because because it's true, but I could say that because my career ended and I wasn't very good. Right? So I wasn't like, I'm the man, check me out. Like I was a top 100 recruit across all weight classes. I think my highest pound for pound ranking in high school, I was number 8. Just pretty crazy. Yeah, I won nationals twice, and I was highly recruited in high school. I mean, it was my life, dude. Like, it was what I lived and breathed and whatever. Went to college, and I just did not pan out in college, man. I mean, I started my freshman year. I should have, based on my trajectory, like, I should have been an All-American at the very least. And, like, I never even qualified for nationals, which means I wasn't even the top 32 of my weight class. Which it's embarrassing. Like, it really is. But it's like that, the lesson is in there, right? And I had injuries. Like, early in my freshman year, I had a really bad injury that I wrestled throughout that season, but it hindered me the whole year. Then I got a concussion about a year from that. Took me out for a while. Bad one. Another concussion a year after that. Bad one. And then my senior year, I got my third concussion in 3 years, and they said, you're done. And at that point, I was already like a utility guy. I was in and out of the lineup. It was pretty evident that I wasn't going to be, a national champion in college or even an All-American. But at that point, my senior year, I was like, I used to be something, and now I am like a manager on the team because of these injuries. dude, you want to talk about like sleepless nights and like an identity crisis? Like, bro, I was in a bad spot. And then I heard Brian Stan. This is at the point where I said, okay, I'm joining the military, where I had already decided. There's this guy, Brian Stan, who was a UFC fighter, Naval Academy graduate, infantry officer in the Marine Corps. And I heard him on a podcast kind of talk about that. He went to college as a starter. He was a starting quarterback. And by his senior year, he didn't have a job anymore. And he said, at that point, I decided no matter what, I will contribute to this team at every chance I get. I will bring value to this room and to this team every chance I can. It's not going to be on the field. That's pretty evident at this point. But I'll find a way. And I heard that. I heard him say that at the perfect moment in my life. Like, it was when I was going through this crisis of, I used to be a wrestler. Like, what the hell am I now? Luckily, I joined the Marine Corps, and that's what I became. But I was lost for a little bit. And, okay, I'm not scoring points for this team, but how can I help them prepare? What did these guys need to be successful at practice today? What do they need to be successful on this trip? I helped our director of operations book flights and book hotels and book catering for the team. And I did it kind of feeling like with a tail between my legs, because I was like, I used to be on the team. Now I'm like working for them. It was weird. But with enough maturity and trying to find my purpose in this world, I became all right with it. Maybe not all right with it, but I saw the value in it. And that's it. So no matter where I am, how can I contribute value? I might not be the star player in this room or on this team or in this business, right? Like Kevin was talking the other day. He's like, everyone in this business is better than me at what they do. Like, my salesperson's better than me at sales. Like, my installers could install better than me, whatever. But no matter where he goes in his business, I guarantee that guy is contributing value. So it's like, okay, in this moment, in this room, with these people, how can I help? And I learned that in wrestling. I learned a lot of other things in wrestling, but that was kind of the parting gift that sport gave me. And I'm really glad that it did. Tough pill to swallow, but an important one nonetheless.
Yeah, dude, that's a tough one for sure. Is, not to say peaking in high school, right? But like,
but you said it, Lee.
Well,
but it's true, dude.
No, but I just mean, like, you leave high school and you find out that the world is a little bit different than the way that you thought it was, right? Yeah. Like, you thought it would have been easier, Yeah. And I think that totally translates into business as well, right? Like, when you first start out in your business and you go from 0 to like 250K, you're like, yeah, I'm hustling, I'm making it work, I'm picking up leads. But when you get into that 250 to 500 phase, well, what was the foundation that you built when you started, right? Like, did you build the systems? Did you build the processes? Did you build the team? And if the answer is no, and you just won it the whole way, you're not going to go from 500 to $1 million, right? Right. And Alex Hormozi says this best. He calls the $1 to $3 million phase the swamp. Why? Because it sucks at your legs, and if the wheels are going to fall off, they will fall off.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Your foundation will crack between 1 and 3 million.
Right.
And I think that's, really important that you learn those lessons in 0 to 250, and you use that to inform 250 to 500, and then you prosper from it from 500 to $1 million, right? Or 500 to 800. And it's totally transferable, right? Like, yeah, high school is great. You can crush it. You walk into college, it's a different game, right? Like, there's a much different game that you're playing now,
Totally.
And I think if you walked out with anything, like, you walked out with a little bit of humility, right? Like, a little bit of, yeah, I was great, but there's a level, and greatness will get you far, but it's learning how to play the different games at different stages.
Yes. You hit the nail on the head there, and I want to add to the humility aspect to it is I almost got, okay, you need to strike a balance between self-confidence and self-awareness. And when I left college, for a little while there, I was kind of like, what the hell just happened? Like, or even through college, you're the man. Well, we could talk about the leadership aspect of the team and the coaches and all the other things. There's a lot of factors there, but you go like, okay, I thought I was the man, and I was for a little bit, and then I worked myself completely out of the lineup and into like a manager position. Like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, which is okay to think and know. But if that becomes your default mindset for everything you do, you're going to wreck your confidence. And I did that for a while. So you need to strike that balance of self-awareness and self-confidence. So it's be confident enough to go forward and do it, but be self-aware to know when you got to ask for help and when you got to pivot.
Big part for me is someone who's done martial arts pretty much my entire life, right? Like Muay Thai kickboxing and then jiu-jitsu myself is like, I've always found that some of the best lessons that I've ever learned is from getting tapped on the mat, mistakes that I made or potentially like being a bit too confident walking in with a white belt and getting tapped by a white belt is pretty humbling, right?
These white belts could be dangerous.
Dude, and you know what? And it's so funny. It's like when we're talking about kind of transferability of like being an athlete and martial arts and then also military and how it responds to being a business owner is the same as a white belt. Like you walk in as a white belt, everybody's nice to you, right? Like everyone wants to like help you out and give you advice. Yeah. But then when you start moving up tiers, you hit that 500, you hit that 1 million, you hit that 2 million. People tend to shut down around you. They're just like, yeah, no, I'm not, I'm going to make a lesson out of this guy,
Yeah, I know. It sucks. I don't like that. It happens. Right. You're 100% right there, but it sucks.
Yeah.
One of my leadership philosophies in, because obviously every leader in the military, you saw it there. They have their leadership guidance or their, their core values pinned in front of their door, just like any good business has. And it's something you made us do real early on. But white belt mentality was a part of my leadership guidance, and it's like no matter what situation you're in, approach it like a white belt.
Yeah,
right. Like you see those guys, like they're so eager to learn. Like they want to talk to everybody in there that outranks them, and they want to learn from everybody, and they're so into it, right? It's like have that mentality with stuff.
Totally, man. Totally. I think this is also one of the reasons why we love the guys that we've when we've been attracting our tribe here in Brave Academy is like we've said like, hey, listen, at some point you're gonna have to talk to someone who's junior. You're not bigger than them. You're not so much further ahead. The expectation is that you pitch in and help everyone in the program.
Yeah.
And that's how we try.
Which we have a lot of. We have a lot. Like, your group is good for that. Really good, man.
Yeah. And these guys will lay it out for you, right? But the one thing is you have to be in the program. They're not posting this stuff online. It's that circle and that unity makes you stronger. It makes them stronger, and plus you're never too big to learn from someone who's, doing 250 grand or 500 grand a year,
Right.
We've had conversations with guys at 5 million who, they never implemented the core values. They never implemented the vision roadmap. They never learned how to be a good leader. And they've just gotten there by luck and chance and, probably from being in a major metro city, like you were sitting in that leadership boot camp that we just did with guys who were doing, 10 times the revenue that you're doing. And I saw when you were talking, they're sitting writing notes.
Yeah. And I would do the same if they were talking to me about running a business or managing something at that scale. It's like it's just both have the white belt mentality. It's like I could learn from you, you could learn from me.
100%, dude.
That's just how it is. It's how it gets better. Yeah, I hate when people have like the famine mentality of they're keeping the trade secrets to themselves or they don't want to talk. Like there's another local shop here. His name's also Nick, which is kind of funny. But he reached out to me asking something. I think he was looking to like see if I wanted to join his team. I was like, no, like I own a business out here and whatever. And I'm super friendly with him. Like there's no reason not to be. Like there's more work than we know what to do with it, Yeah. And I could just tell when we're talking, I'm asking him questions like about his business and the way he does things or whatever, and he's a little bit like, but I'm like, I get it. Like I get why people are like that, but how much more beneficial would this be for both of us if like we both took down the curtains and we talked about it and we made the business better?
Yeah.
Right. I saw this really, really good idea online. Maybe it's not really, I thought it was a good idea. They were like, yeah, like there's 3 shops in my area. We're all cool with each other. We meet regularly to discuss like what's working and what's not. We leverage our supply. We all use the same suppliers. So we'll make it like one big order to get better deals on stuff and divvy it up. And I'm like, yo, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Like you're telling me that there's not enough work within an hour radius for both of us where we could like link up and, But anyway, yeah, that I enjoy the guys that we have because we could talk and just, what's working.
Yeah.
Right. It's not theory. It's like they're doing it.
Yeah. These guys that get hyper focused on everyone else around them, is detrimental to you because the only person you should be competing with is yourself yesterday.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
Obviously, there's a lot of lessons in jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or whatever your sport is, but the biggest one that I like to, there's two kind of key phrases I always repeat. One is technique comes first, speed and velocity comes after, right?
Yeah.
And then the second one is you learn, you tap, you reset, right?
Yeah, I like that.
It's totally exactly the same thing in business, right? Like you have to learn from your mistakes and you have to nail the technique first before you can get that speed and velocity. And that's exactly what you did right in your business is you focused on the technique first and now you're feeling that speed and velocity coming. Is there still lessons? 100%.
Okay.
But you're way more equipped to deal with those lessons that are coming down the line.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like I went from, learning the technique to, when I started running it full time, like we rang the bell or blew the whistle. It's like, okay, we're sparring now. And it's like, no matter how good you were at all the technique and stuff, it's like, this isn't going to go just like that. Yeah. Right? Like this is going to be rough. Or I shouldn't say this is going to be rough. There are going to be rough periods here.
Yeah.
And it's all good. It's a part of it, dude. It's like roll with the punches, learn, and move on.
For sure.
That's how it is.
Absolutely. Switch gears here, man. I want to talk with you.
Okay.
Like Hank.
Yeah, Link's 4.5 and Hank is 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Still brand new, right? That's a tough time for the dad to be away, right? Not just for Nicole, but also like for the kids as well. How did you handle that? Like, how did you handle being away?
Dude, you're gonna make me cry. Stop. I have a great wife. Yeah, she's a beast, man. I was only able to build this business and be successful in the Marine Corps because of her. And business owners and service members and all these professions that take a lot of time, your spouse gets the raw end of the deal. It's a tale as old as time. And I've seen it. I've put her through it. I'm still putting her through it. We have to talk about it a lot because if you don't, like that problem will just grow. If you're going to start a business or do some sort of career that's going to take a lot from you, have a very open conversation with your wife and set those expectations of this is going to be tough and I need your help. Like even if Nicole wasn't doing anything for the business specifically, she is like still the most important part of this business because if she didn't do her job as the mother of our kids and the wife, I couldn't do what I do. Right. So I was gone Monday through Friday, working in a different state, and she was here with the kids that whole time. And then on the weekends, I'd wake up super early, like work in the shop, spend some time with my family. After they'd go to bed, I'd work back in the shop like Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday back on the road to go to work for the whole week. And like that was hard on her. Like that was hard on me. Like I wasn't sleeping. The kids are like, there's not a lot of stability there. They're like, Dad's only here 2 days a week. What the hell's going on? Lincoln's like, Dad, don't go back to work. And like, it's breaking your heart. So like, I don't want to give a lot of advice here because I didn't do a great job. I don't think a lot of people can do a great job there. But I'll say one thing that I need to work on, and if I need to work on it, I think a lot of other people need to as well, is treat your family as well as you would treat some of the other things in your life. I would never treat my, like Michael, like the way I sometimes talk to Nicole. Like I'm way more matter of fact when I talk to her. Hey, I need you to do this. Just do this or whatever. Because she's like my safe person. But I would never talk to him like that. Like I don't put nearly the amount of energy and focus on our conversations that I do with conversations with strangers who are potential clients. Like that's not fair. Right? And it's pretty rare that I catch myself doing it. So I need to work on that. And if you're listening to this, maybe you do too. It's tough. Like as the sole provider for my household, you're caught between providing for your family and being with your family. And that is a tough position to be in. So I'm working through that, man. I like to time block, right? I know this sounds kind of like path, but I will time block time to be with my family because at least I know that time isn't spoken for with anything else. Because if I don't, and in my mind I'm like, shit, I got to get this estimate out, I have to get this drawing out, I need to redo X, Y, and Z. My attention is elsewhere, and everyone around you could feel that, right? So last weekend or 2 weekends ago, we went to Disney. We were there Friday through Monday. On Friday, I'm at the airport, and the installer is texting me pictures of stuff that they damaged on the install. Okay. And I'm like at the airport with my kids and things are good. Like we're going to Disney. Like I left the job site this morning and things were going well. And they busted 2 things that we'll now have to remake. Not only that, bring them to the finisher, have him finish it. Like, so it's more time in my shop. It's more time at the finisher. It's more money. It's more commute. It's all this. And now the project's delayed a little bit. Like I'm at the airport, like with a beer, about to get on the plane. Like this kicks ass, and my whole family could feel my mood switch, and I noticed it. And I was like, am I really about to like ruin this vibe and this mood because this one little piece of wood got damaged? It's like, but I have that impact. Like you could have that impact, and like your mood could ruin that for all the time.
Yeah.
If you're not careful. So I was pissed for 5 minutes, and I talked to Nicole. I go, I'm pissed. I'm done being pissed. I was just pissed for 5 minutes. This is going to be a good-ass trip. I can't fix that hood right now. We're going to Florida. And they're going to be, like, the clients are going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. Like, let's freaking go. Yeah. And I didn't, and I was able to detach for a couple days. It was great.
Which was your big win on our next, again, coaching call.
It was, yeah.
You were like, I didn't really get anything done. And I said, no, you went to Disneyland with your family.
Yeah.
And that is a bigger win than some other things. Bigger than implementing a CRM system or bigger than implementing a clock in, clock out process. Like,
yeah,
you got to be that. You got to be that after all of these years of, being away, the late nights, the where's dad conversations that Nicole need to have. And then here's dad standing here. And that was the big one,
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I need to detach a little bit better. So good job on asking me how I balance all this. And then I just word vomit on how I need to improve on it because it's true.
Well, I think we can all be better, right? Like we can always be better. And I think it comes down to is what are we telling ourselves about this business? Are we telling ourselves that we're doing this for our families, or are we telling when really we're doing it for ourselves because of our egos, right?
Yep.
We're doing it because we want to be the big head honcho business owner, And I mean that's the vibe here, right? Like it's not about how many millions of dollars are on your profit and loss statement. Like how many vacations did you get to go on with your kids and your family, right? Like how many date nights did you get with your wife? Do you still have a wife, right? Because I've been there, man. Like I've been there countless times where I've been in the parking lot on the phone with a pissed off customer, and my wife's sitting in the restaurant waiting for me for that one date night that I promised her, right? Or there'd be nights where I was like, just need to get this done, and dinner's going cold on the table and she's sitting there alone, right?
Yeah.
Totally been there, man. And it's not easy for both you or for her. And I think, your wife can only be a certain amount of a rock star.
Yeah.
To a point where now this is like really unfair.
Exactly. Exactly. And you and I are both fans of like the unreasonable hospitality, mindset. Obviously, it's a book. If you haven't read it or listened to it, do so. It's amazing. But a part of that is it's like when you have a client that wants something, it's like, we want to serve them and please them and exceed their expectations. But sometimes that's at the expense of something else.
Right.
And a lot of times it's our families because it's like, it's my wife, she'll understand, she gets it, she's on board, or my kids, they get it, whatever, but it could wear. So one thing that I do okay at, I try to stick to, is just setting the expectation. Like Saturday, I was like, listen, Saturday we're going to go to the athletic, there's an athletic park up the road. It has this amazing playground. Like we're going to the athletic park, we're getting ice cream. Like we're going to church on Sunday, like we're doing it, but I need to work until like 10 a.m. Like I just need to do a couple little things, and then like that's it. Like and like then obviously you have to follow through on that, and then it's good. And then she wasn't pissed that I had to work until 10 a.m. Just a couple hours in the morning, whatever. So setting the expectations, even if they're not great, helps.
Sure.
But yeah, this would be a good maybe like in our like next like contractor coffee break. Like we could talk. We could turn it into like a group marriage counseling. Like,
We should, you know what we should do is we should bring the wives to one of them. You know, like get your wife on, bring them in, let them meet each other. Right? I can only imagine what the WhatsApp group would look like if all of the, you know, the Brave Academy wives are in there. But I mean, I think that's important, right? I think that is important that you do set those expectations and that you do include them in the business. But ultimately, don't trick yourself and tell yourself, I'm doing this for them when it's your ego that you can't let go of, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the big one. Here's the one that hurts the most for me is I get 18 summers with my kid, realistically.
Don't put it like that.
No, but it's true though, right? And here's another one. Like, obviously, as somebody who packed up and moved 3,000 miles away across an ocean to come and live in North America from Scotland, like, you know, I only see my mom, like, if I'm lucky, one.
Yeah.
And what?
Right. So, like, how many more times will you see your mom?
Exactly. Like, my grandmother's still alive. She's like the best person in my entire life. She like helped raise us when my dad passed, and you know, she's she's turning 18 next year. I'll probably only see her one more time in person. I call her every Sunday. This is every Sunday.
Oh, that's great.
I phone my grandma. You know, and she's like my biggest fan. She's like the best person in the world. But yeah, like I tend to look at it like that. I'm like, realistically, like I've got 18 summers left with my kid. You know? Not even.
I know.
You know? Not even. I'm 13. No.
Ah, man. I know. It hits hard. Like, we were at an interior designer's house the other day. We just became friends, and we worked on a few projects together. We were over there for something. Yeah, it's turned into a good relationship. I was over there with my whole family, and her son came home from hanging out with his friends, and he's like 12 or 13. And, you know, he's like too cool for school, but she's like, come here, give me a hug or whatever. He came in, and Nicole just looks at me. She goes, that's going to be Lincoln soon. And I was like, why the hell would you say that? I'm like, I know that's going to be Lincoln soon, but like, don't remind me. You know, he still crawls into our bed, you know, some nights, so he'll get scared in the middle of the night. And she's like, Nicole's like, you know, Lincoln, like, you're nothing to be scared of. Like, I'll tuck you back in or whatever. And I'm like, dude, let him sink into our bed. Like, I'm like, just let him. Like, how cool is it that when he's scared, he feels safe in our bed?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's so, like, some other people, like, you know, unfortunately, like, there are kids where that's not the scenario.
No, dude.
He to our bed, I'm like, he's asleep, he'll let me cuddle him. I'm like, if he's alive, like, I'm alive, oh my gosh. When he's awake, he never even lets me hug him. I'm like, come here, give me a hug. He's like, no. Yeah. I'm like, give me a kiss. And it's like rare he even, you know, lets me give him a kiss. And I'm like, hey, when he's asleep, at least I could cuddle him. Like,
yeah.
You know.
I don't think I'm at any charge of that with my little girl, man. She is, you know.
Well, it's different with girls. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's you know. And here's the cool thing is because I get to do this from home, right? I'm home every day when she gets home from school. There's nothing like, as soon as she opens the garage door to come in, she just screams, "Daddy!" And I'm like, yes,
dude.
You know, it's just the best.
It's the best.
Yeah. And I mean, I try not to talk to her about that, but I'm like, you know, like one day you're not gonna want to come up to me or like, you know, want to let me hold you, or one day you're not. But for now, and she's like, I'll always let you forever.
Yeah.
I never want to leave you, Daddy. And I'm like, yeah, it's so hard, man. But like, I think at the end of the day, like we have to, you know, we need to be conscious that if you've got a younger family, which a lot of our clients do, a lot of our members do, a lot of contractors do right now, is don't fall into that trap, right? Like to a point where it takes you away from those years where you get to be that superhero to them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. When is the curtain, you know, pulled away? It's like you realize your parents are human, you know, like 10, 11.
Yeah.
And then they have friends, and then like 12, 13, it's like girlfriends and boyfriends and all that. It's like you get to be like the star of the show for a little while. And I forget, like, you know, it's bedtime, for example. Like, it's always a battle now with Lincoln at bedtime. And it's like, you know, one more story, or I don't want to go to bed, or he's trying to have a conversation with me. Like, he's never had a conversation with me all day. But now that he's trying to go to bed, he needs water, he wants to have a conversation, all this. And you rush through it because you got to get on with your life and do other shit. Like you have your nightly routine you got to get to and spend some time with your spouse. But man, we will probably in like 10 or whatever 15 years, like we would do anything for like one more bedtime routine with the kids. But try reminding yourself of that when you just worked a 14-hour day and you just want to take a shower and go to bed. It's tough. And it's fullness, you know, and attention, and it's these things that are so obvious and in front of our eyes that we just overlook them.
Yeah, because we think we'll always have it.
Yeah, and like the same thing could apply. Like you start to take advantage, or take for granted, you know, your team. And it's like all this, like they're gonna walk, or all of a sudden they're gonna like give you some kickback on an order or what you need to do, and then it's like, yeah, have you stopped and analyzed like the culture and how you've been treating this thing? And man, so far it's been harder to balance that as a business owner than it was as an active duty Marine.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And that's the thing is like employees are, you know, they're not the whole book. They're just a handful of chapters in it, you know, where they got to be part of that or they were in that.
Yeah. And I would tell guys that are getting out, it's, you know, I got out, you know, a few months ago and we did the going away and people were sad and whatever. And it's like the big green machine rolls on. But in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, like no matter what happens, like I will still be dad.
Yeah.
No matter what the business does or doesn't do, like it doesn't matter. Like I will still be dad. And so you can't forget that, like what matters the most.
Yeah. And I mean, the funny thing is too, is like, you're still pretty young yourself. Right. So, I mean, you've still got,
I suppose,
but I think you've also been forced to grow up a little bit too, right? Just with, you know, a competitive athletic career, right into the military, positions of leadership, you know, like I think you've also been forced to grow up. I think the other part to this too is you've got young kids. You get to be a bit of a kid again when you have them with you, and you need to take advantage of that. It is the best, you know.
Have you experienced this yet? Like, you know, you just went through like a drought of like Christmas and Halloween and all these holidays. They're like, for a while, you're just like, you don't really care too much about them. Then you have kids and you're like, oh, hell yeah.
Dude, I was not
like,
a Christmas guy before I had kids.
And now you're like, I'm going to make this the most magical day of your life.
Dude, I ordered a Buddy the Elf suit this Christmas just passed.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, man.
That wasn't me.
For me, it's Thanksgiving because I was a wrestler and that Thanksgiving's during wrestling season.
Right.
Lee, for Americans, Thanksgiving is this holiday.
We have a Thanksgiving here too. It's just a different time of the year. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. So I can never eat a lot on Thanksgiving, if at all, right? Because you'd always have a tournament like right after Thanksgiving. I'm like, who made this schedule? And so now every year, like I've hosted Thanksgiving since the year I graduated college, which is like my first house that I moved into. I was like, Nicole, like Thanksgiving's our holiday. Your family, whoever else could host whatever the hell they want. We own Thanksgiving. And so we've been doing that since we've been married. And I love it. Like it's a huge feast. Like my kids will remember that as a time of like amazing food, like amazing fellowship, and like no one is cutting weight in my house on Thanksgiving. Like I will not allow it. Like even if my kids wrestle, I'm like, dude, bump up a weight class. I don't care. Like I'm not putting you through that torture that I went through for like 15 years.
You have to put a scale at the front door before they leave, and if you've not put weight on, then you have to come back.
Yeah, you will gain 10 pounds here or else. Get your ass back in the kitchen. Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. And I think that totally, man, right? It's like, what are our family traditions? What are our holidays that we maxed out on, you know? What are our vacations?
You're so right.
Yeah.
We'll, you know, you mentioned it earlier a little bit. It's like, measuring success by like, are we spending time together? Are we doing vacations? Dude, the amount of joy I saw on my kid's face on that vacation, I was like, however many cabinets I need to sell, like we're gonna make it happen. Like this, like it was amazing. Like watching my kid at SeaWorld, like clap and go woo, like when you know the whale is like jumping out of the water doing tricks. I'm like, I've never seen anybody this happy in my life. Like this is what it is all about right here, man.
It totally is, man.
So
it totally is.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a hard question, because obviously, like, we understand that our kids are watching us, whether they're 2 or 3 or 4. One of the things I always try and remember is they might not remember every time I was out working, or they might not remember all the nights that I didn't come home, but that feeling that they got while I was gone will stay with them forever. They'll know that feeling in the future, right?
Yeah.
The concept of tripwires now for you, when will you know if you're slipping back into that same pattern as a business owner? You've already seen how easy it is to do that, to fall back into those late nights, early mornings, missing vacations, answering the phone. Like, what's your tripwire?
It's going to have to be Nicole. It's going to have to be my wife, Like I mentioned earlier, like when you're like in it, like when you're in the fight, like sometimes you get horse blinders on and you can't see anything other than like your goal. Like I've been there in other aspects of my life, and you need to, like, she'll bring me food from the house sometimes. Like, you haven't eaten today, have you? I'll be like, no, thank you for this. And then I'll, like, the other morning I had a screaming headache. She's like, did you drink like any water yesterday? I was like, no. Now that I think about it, no, not like. She's like, buddy, like you can't like just work. Because it's not like I'm doing it to be macho. Like when I just get into something, I get into it. Like, so yeah, like I'll just forget to eat, like forget to drink, and then later I'm like, gosh, I'm thirsty. Oh shit, yeah, I live in North Carolina and I have had like a cup of coffee today. Like, yeah, it's not good,
This one like this, nice. Like,
yeah, like just and it was at like 5 a.m. Just like start my day with a nice diuretic and then just like hit it hard in the heat for 12 hours. So I need to, kind of put that backstop in place or tripwire in place of like, we need to maybe set something up like every Sunday or Saturday where we're like sitting down and reevaluating, just like, is this, some sort of family meeting. And, I kind of like, you don't want to run your family too much like a business, because like you want it to be centered around like, here's where you and I like differ. It's like treat it like, love rather than a professional sports team, right? But like sometimes you got to bring a little bit of flavor from each of those. So yeah, I certainly need to have that conversation with her and just say, where is our backstop? Like what are we not budging on? Whether it's church on Sunday or like a family meal on Saturday or something. But that's going to have to be it, because if I'm left to my own devices, my default is work. It's just all I know. Like I got my first job when I was 15, like actual job, like with I was doing other stuff beforehand, but since then I've been working, even through college, wrestling and stuff. So my default is work. Like her and the kids are leaving for 2 days this week to go to her aunt's house. The first thought that went in my head was, how much shit can I do? I'm going to crush it when they're so yeah, I need to just put some things on the calendar every week that these don't budge. Yeah, I am not doing that right now, but I'm going to do that. Now that we've spoken through it. Yeah.
Well, it comes back to what we talked about in the leadership boot camp, right? Like if you're gonna have the audacity to have expectations, you better have the gall to explain them and to talk about them and then live them, right? And it's the same with our wives, right? Like not only the expectations of like what are your non-negotiables, what are my non-negotiables, but also like what are we trying to build collectively together, even if it's in separate departments. One's in the shop, the other one's at home, right? Yeah. And like that's a pretty common theme, especially at this time of the year when things are starting to ramp up organically, leads are coming in, there's more work available for people. It's really easy to slip that and just fall right into, I'm in busy season, I'm just trying to make hay while the sun shines. That means I can avoid my kids all summer, right? Or that it makes it okay because I'm busy at work. And I don't think it is, right? I watched my dad, he would leave before I woke up in the morning. He wouldn't come home until late at night. And when he came home late at night, he would sit and tank beers all night to fall asleep, which led to ultimately him taking his own life and all that stuff. But like, I make it my mission to try and avoid that, right? And I try and do that by constantly asking my wife, like, hey, like, what do you want to get from this? Like, what do you want to get from me building this business, right? Because I never asked her before when I had my own, construction business. I never asked her, like, what do you want to make sure that you get out of this by sacrificing, by staying up late at night or whatever. I never asked her, So
Well, how did you get there? Because how did you get to where you are with that? Because I know when you owned your painting company, you were like, it got pretty dark for us for a little while. I hope you don't mind me saying that. You kind of alluded to it earlier.
No, I'm super open to that. She'll say that too, right? Like she would say the same thing. She was like, there was multiple times where I considered walking away. And I mean, walking away for her would have been her getting back on a plane and flying back home to Scotland, right?
Yeah.
Because, we were there together. How did we come back from it? It came everything came to a head when I took a pretty severe kidney infection from killing myself every day. That's where everything changed, not only on the business side and the systems and the processes, but also, I'm not going to be here. I didn't have kids at that point. So it was like, I'll never have kids. And like, I really want to be in a position where I give my wife a kid. And then 3 years later, I cop out because I didn't fucking drink water for, a week or only ate Wendy's breakfast meals for a week. It wasn't good. But like I said, a lot of this program is built around what I wish I'd done the opposite of, or what did I learn the hard lesson about before I turned it into this. And then also, how do I live that every day? I try and practice.
Did you find that when you started teaching it and kind of putting that onto other people, you got better at it yourself?
I think yes. I think, like you said, the accountability from the clients, like how could you take me seriously if I told you guys to do something or be a certain way with your family and then couldn't back that up myself? And don't get me wrong, dude, like I have to fight it every day. My default is to work. I've worked since I was 7 years old. When everybody was out having their party phase and they were drinking through their 20s and they were going off to college, I never done any of that. I was working behind the bar, I was building businesses. Granted, I did adopt that same kind of mindset that you had on the wrestling team, where I was like, well, this is my situation. Let me be the best I can possibly be to try and see if I can get myself ahead, I've told the story a few times, man, where it's like, I was working behind a bar, pulling beers. The 2008 recession had just happened, right? Like I needed a job. And I just started asking him, like, what are you doing? Oh, you're doing a toilet cleanliness check? Hey, can I come with you? You want to show me how to do it? And then I can take over for you, right? What are you doing? Oh, you're cashing up at the end of the day? Or you're doing a kitchen health inspection? Or you're training someone? I was like, can I be there? Can I be there? Can I be there? And that led me to becoming a corporate trainer, right? And I loved it, dude. Oh, my God, man. I found my love for coaching people right there. Standing in front of a room of 40 or 50 people, and I'd be like, who's worked in a bar before? And everybody put their hand up. I'd be like, great, forget everything you know. I'm going to teach you everything from scratch, right?
Yeah.
And then it was systems, and it was process, and it was numbers and KPIs. And my wife was with me. That's where I met my wife, was when I was doing that job. I actually got sent to the restaurant that she was working in to turn it around because it was failing. And we met there.
Were you like the actual bar rescue?
John Tapper? Yeah, similar to that. He's like, I love that guy, man. Oh, yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
But similar to that. Yeah.
So you learn from experience. It's, I wonder if you kind of went the traditional route and maybe like went to college for education or whatever. It's like you would have ended up liking and becoming a teacher or some sort of coach like that. Like probably not. It's like sometimes life just works out. You end up finding what you're passionate about through, really backdoor channels. Like, for me, like, I would have never known I was as passionate about leadership and educating until I got this position, and I was like, this is awesome.
It's totally true, man. Yeah. I mean, I used to hate those people that like locked on to what they wanted to be with their life in high school, and then they actually went and became that. And I used to struggle with that, right? Like when I got up into my 20s and, mid 20s, I was like, what do I want to do? Like, I still don't know. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up,
Yeah. Those interesting people I know don't, right? Like it took them a little while to get to where they are.
Right. And here's the kicker.
When do people start a business? Like what age do people normally start a business?
There isn't a normal age.
There isn't a normal age. I feel like I've seen a stat that it was like in their 40s or something. I don't know. And now I'm curious to look it up. But if this was Joe Rogan, we'd be like, pull that up, Jamie.
We need a Jamie.
You need a Jamie, dude. But, if like high school me was looking at me now and be like, yeah, you'll own a cabinet shop and like run a business, I'd be like, really? Like, I thought I was going to make something of my life.
I, I
But, like, I
mean,
totally feel like in a successful spot. Like, my kids get to watch me work every day, um, and grow a business and build something out of nothing. And, like, from the lens that I get to look at it through now, I'm like, this is amazing.
yeah.
Like, I'm really proud of all that. So, yeah, you might not know what you want to be when you're young, but that's who cares. I mean, I'm 31. Like, I might get like, dude, there might be totally something different in my 40s or 50s. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Well, hey, here's the thing, right? Like, I mean, you've got this business. You're learning how to be a business owner. The lessons that you are learning now as a business owner are applicable to any business, whether it's cabinetry or freaking cutlery. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, like there still has to be a client. There still has to be revenue. Still has to be systems. Still has to be processes. Like you said, you're in this phase of learning, right? You're in the discovery phase. Is that phase fun? Yeah, but it's also not. But you learn a lot of lessons that you can now take to another business, whether you want to get into real estate development, you know, freaking, I don't know, dude. Even if
you discover the good at the bad.
whatever it is, right?
Discovery.
It's the same thing. So the rules do apply. I usually say to everybody, like, business success is not a skill set; it's a frequency that you have to tune yourself up to, right? That
Ooh, okay.
the most successful version of your business already exists somewhere out in the world, right? There's other cabinet makers who have done everything that you want to do and they're doing really well at it. We're just tuning you up. We're just getting you through that frequency.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Which is I've kind of had that thought before because I've seen other shops that have it like totally dialed in. This is Kevin's friend. This guy Joe. He runs Village Handmade, I think, up in Philly. That's how they know each other. They're Philly guys. And I heard his story, and I was like, that I was there. Like, I was there last year. He was there, 25 years ago. But like, if he was there and I were both there, like, that means, can I be that one day? Like, I guess I can. And he's got like 50 employees, and his shop is like 3 blocks long, and it's just like nuts. So yeah, like that's a really cool way of looking at it. Like, it exists, it's out there. You just got to find out like what you got to do to get yourself there.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody's situation is slightly different how you get started off, right? The guy who inherited his company from his dad who built it and paid off all the equipment is going to have a much easier job scaling it than the guy who has to pay for everything from scratch, or, the guy with the business degree or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So,
maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could find success either which hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
But yeah, the guy that gets to walk into this debt free is lucky bastard.
Yeah, but I think also you have to be willing to fail a little bit, but recognize that the lessons are there. The same thing with Kevin, right? One of his competitors is doing $28 million a year in custom closets.
Yep. Yeah, there's always somebody better. There's always.
That doesn't mean better, right? It doesn't always mean better either. Yeah. Like, I'll tell you this, man. Like, I made more money at, like, the first time we crossed 7 figures. The next year we dropped 200 grand and made more profit the next again year.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I was chasing the million. I wasn't chasing the net profit margin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
And that's why you're such a stickler for us tracking like GPM and stuff.
100%, dude. 100%.
You're like, I don't care about your revenue with GPM.
Right. Well, net profit is fueling the car. It's fueling the vehicle, right? That's like, you can have the nicest car in the world, but if the gas tank is empty, right, you ain't going nowhere. So net profit is gas in the tank. It lets you drive further, lets you have nicer things. I've torn down so many guys who have came into conferences and webinars and, well, why should we listen to you? Because we're doing 15 million. I'm like, cool, let me see your P&L. No, you're not seeing my P&L. Like, what does it say on the last line of your P&L? I'm not telling you that. I'm like, yeah, because I know. Right.
Yeah. I liked our quarterly review. You're like, all right, we're doing your quarterly review today. Pull up your P&L. I was like, it's like when you thought about like not doing your homework and then you did it. Your teacher's like, I'm checking homework today. You're like, thank God I did it. But I like felt good. I was like, well, I already had my meeting with my accountant like he told me to do. I already went through the whole P&L. So like, okay, like let's go over it.
100%. Yeah, that's the one thing that you don't get in your career as an athlete is you don't get handed a piece of paper that says exactly where every failure, every bad decision, all you have is the win or the loss. Business is a bit more forgiving.
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah, I think the big lesson of this podcast is really just like, from someone who's spent a lot of time away from home, sacrificed a lot of time with his kids, sacrificed a lot of time with his wife, who's a rock star, right? Shout out to Nicole, because she is a stud. Is use this business as a catalyst to give you the time back with your kids. And what does that mean? That means working smart, not hard. Doesn't mean doing more hours. Doesn't mean jumping in, answering every phone call. It's getting your business to a point where that's handled by somebody else, right? Because that time with your kids is protected. That vacation you go on every year is protected. Usually say, if you want to have more vacations with your kid, put them in the calendar and hold yourself to it. Because if you wait until the right time, it'll never come being a business owner.
You'll always find the reason why you shouldn't, or what else has to happen in the business under the guise of this is the best thing for my family. Your kids could give two shits if you made, $950 or $1 million.
Yeah.
They don't care, but they will remember if you took them for a week. It doesn't have to be, SeaWorld or whatever. Like even just like a small thing.
Yeah.
They'll remember that every Sunday you got ice cream or, So I know that is true, and I just need to remain mindful of that.
Yeah. So obviously, like you've built this business, fucking busted out of the gates.
Yep.
Right, charging for that first goal. Walk me through like what has to be true for Hall's Cabinetry and Nick Hall for this to be like a real company by December. Like December 31st rolls around. Like what do you need to have achieved in that time?
Well, I think old me would have tied the answer to that question to revenue, but I don't feel like that's appropriate to do anymore. I would say right now, I own a job more than I own a business because I'm still young at this. I have the roadmap to change that, right? And you and I are working on that every time we meet to change that. I need to be the leader of this company. I don't need to be the lead cabinet assembler or the lead installer for this company. I have some systems in place, but I don't have enough in place. So I think for me to feel like I own a legit business, I need to scale those things up. I need to bring on, I would say, at least one other guy, possibly two. I think I'm doing well with my other trade relations. So my network of interior designers and builders are solid. If they stayed where they are right now between now and December, I would be okay with that because my annual goal was to be where I am right now, right? So if it grew, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So I have a solid well that I could dip into for work. But everything that is happening behind these shop doors can use improvement. I mean, it could always be improved. But for this to be more of I'm the leader of this business and not necessarily I'm the leader of this job that I go to every day, those things need to change.
I love that. That's a great answer.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I used to think that, it's just, you could be a one-man band and that's good. It's like, but then you own a job. Yeah. And then there's really not much. And by the way, like, not only do you own a job, but you have the worst boss in the world, which is yourself. I would, and any owner operator like would probably fall in the same category. I would never treat an employee or have the expectations of an employee that I do for myself.
Yeah.
I expect to be working by, 5:30 a.m. I expect myself to answer the phone calls that come in at 7, regardless if like other stuff is happening in the house or whatever. But never in a million years would I expect an employee or like one of my Marines or anybody to do that. But I have those expectations of me, and then any owner operator would fall in the same boat. So it's like I need to kind of treat myself maybe like I would treat an employee, but I need to scale up some other aspects of my business before I could do that.
Yeah. I think that you hold yourself to a high set of expectations. And I think that that's the way that you get your guys to follow you and do as you do, by inspiring and by leading and by setting the example,
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot of guys out there that think like that. I think they go, how do I just make my life as easy as possible and throw people at it, right, to get it done. But it's good because it means that you'll know every single area of your business, and especially the little factors. Like you said, you've scaled your sales department, you've got leads, you've done the networking, but at the cost of not having the systems or processes in place in the shop, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to find as well, you're going to scale that up. You'll maybe hire more people. You'll have more training and all of that good stuff. And then you're going to find that your admin department is left hanging by the wayside and doesn't support the new operation that you have now. Mm-hmm. And that's why I really think that you, in the future, need to start considering, like, who are my gatekeepers going to be? I need an admin person. I need a salesperson. I need a production person. And it can be me. I can lead because that's what I do a really good job of. But I need to put people in these positions so that I can lead them the right way. And then that way, all three departments scale simultaneously at the same time. That's where you unlock that infinite scalability.
Yeah, that's when we're cooking.
That's when you're cooking.
That's when you're cooking right there.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a couple more questions for you. I want to obviously start wrapping this up now because we've been at this for 3 hours now. So
I told you, man. I talk too much.
No, I do. We can make it. We could. I want to talk about coaching for you. Like, if there's someone listening to this podcast episode, right, and they're considering, like, hey, like, I want to get to where Nick is, or I want to launch a business, or even if they're bigger than you are right now and they want to kind of backtrack and implement some of the systems, like, what would you tell them about, like, coaching and the school group and the community that we've built here?
Mm-hmm. I would say, okay, for the guy that's been at it 10 years, one, I could learn something from you, so join our community, please, for me. But two, I would say, Tiger Woods had a coach, right? Like, long after he was Tiger Woods, all these guys, the best of everybody, the biggest CEOs have business coaches. That's what you do. It doesn't mean they're better than the person receiving the coaching or whatever, but they're looking at it from a different perspective. For guys that are in a situation like me, like your business is young, or maybe you haven't even launched your business full time yet, I'll go back to the fight analogy. Are you going to hire a coach after you get your ass whooped? Or are you going to hire a coach before training camp? So just consider that and do a discovery call. Like, join the school group, join the free school group, because you'll still get some chatter in there about, and so some of the lessons are uploaded in there. But it's really the one-on-one that I like. So do the discovery call, do a session with Lee, and you'll appreciate it. And then just talk to some other guys. Reach out. It doesn't have to be me, but, search in the Facebook groups for coach, and then find who's using Lee or other coaches or whoever, and hit them up and say, yo, is this worth it? Do you like it? What did your numbers look like before, and what do they look like now? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's numbers, man.
Yeah, and like Nick said, we have a free resource for anybody that wants to at least start building that foundation. We have a 6-week boot camp in the free school that you can go in, jump in. We touch on every little area of the business. We give you some ideas of where you might be bleeding cash, right? We talk about your team. We used to charge $5,000 for that course, and it's there for free for you to go and jump in. And all we ask is that you share some wins in the community. That's it. And if you want to go pro, there's a level above that as well. If you want to get access to all of the systems, all of the documents, tools, resources that Nick has had for his business without jumping into one-on-one, that's totally fine too. We have an option for that as well. Nikki, I want to end on a question. This is going to be a hard one for you, maybe. Okay. And I don't want you to answer me right away. I want you to have a think about the answer before you give it to me. Okay. But if I was to call Nicole right now, Nick's wife, and I was to ask her, what's changed about Nick since the day he went full time, what would she say? What do you think she would say?
I don't know. I think she might say, her first response she would say not a lot, because she's used to watching me work my ass off. So, when we met, we were both Division I athletes, right? So she is not surprised at high output. I would say she's probably seen me struggle with managing it all, and she would say that he has been harder on himself. I'm like talking to a third person. It's kind of weird, but she would probably say in the last few months of doing this, leaving the military and doing it this full time, he's been hard on himself. So there's some humility in that answer, right? because it doesn't make me look great, but I think it's what you would say because my expectations for myself have always been high, and they are high. The other side of that same coin is I am pushing myself to meet those expectations.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, maybe not the answer you wanted because it's kind of like not great, but we also talk very openly and very often about it.
Yeah.
It's not like this is who I am now. Here's what it is. When I say like I'm working my ass off and I'm tired, I'm feeling overwhelmed. She'll be like, it's not gonna be like this forever. She's like, you're getting off the ground. You're doing what you need to do and whatever. So like, it feels amazing that she's in my corner for that. But yeah, I can give you her number. You could actually get an answer if you want. She wouldn't pick up. She'd be like, I have 2 kids that are trying to kill me.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Yeah, we want to hassle her, but the big part is really like, you know, you said it yourself best, is I've got a perception of myself. What is the people who are closest and most important to me perceive me as? What are the weaknesses that they see?
Yes.
And I think it is important that in this phase, especially in this phase, where, you know, this is the beginning of your big breakthrough, the thing that will allow you to have this time with the kids and be a great husband and do the thing. You know, like you said, she's your tripwire. She's the one that's going to tell you, don't trip it, right?
Yeah.
Ask her to let you know when you're getting close to it, but really,
right.
And I think you need to be crystal clear on like what needs to be different in 6 months, right? If that's how you feel, if you feel like you're being too hard on yourself, which I'll tell you as your coach, yes, you are too hard on yourself in some areas, but I don't think you're hard enough on yourself in other areas, right? You know, I think there is also a bit of recognition that we're doing this for them. We're doing this for our kids, right? And those kids are going to be having a conversation at a dinner table someday as an adult, describing their childhood to somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
I
just wrote that down. Like what needs to be different in 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask her that later. We need to have that talk of like, and it's not going to be like a sit down serious talk. Because like we talk about this sort of stuff like all the time, which is, I'm very thankful that we have a relationship like that. But I do need to ask that question. Like,
well, let's put 2 resources on the table for you guys as well, right? There's 2 resources that's in the school groups. One of them is called the F wheel, right? The F wheel. Not just for you, but also for her, to give her, print them off, give her a copy and just say, hey, in all honesty, go and fill this out, right?
Yeah.
Family, fitness, faith, fun, friends, fulfillment, and future. That's the 7 categories of the F wheel. Mm-hmm. And give yourself a grading out of 5, right? And you look at all the areas of your life and you try and get them as close to matching. Try and become a 3 in all areas. Try and become a 4 in all areas. But give yourself that next step. That's a really good tool that you guys can share and have a deep conversation based on that. The second thing that's there for you as well is we actually have a family board meeting agenda.
I need to check that out.
Yeah. And once a month, sitting down with like the kids, sitting down with Nicole, right? You guys can do this over dinner. When we do it, we pull the big whiteboard upstairs and we write it all out on there. And we're like, where do we want to go on vacation? What do we want to see? What sports do we want to try out? What experience do we want to have? And I think that perpetually puts us in a loop of constantly chasing a defined goal, right? Mm-hmm. A defined mission, so to speak. And if you guys who are listening to this want to get your hands on those tools, I will put those in the free group for you too, so that you can grab them. We'll just make a little section for the podcast there is a section for the podcast in the free group. I'll put them under next episode when it goes live. But yeah, man, I think that you're on the right track, man. And I will say this publicly. I've got no shame in this, but I am super fucking proud of like where you've came from to where you're now. I know you don't need me to tell you that. You're not that guy. But I just want it on the record that you're doing really well. You're learning a lot of lessons that you need to learn. I think this is going to kind of get bigger than you ever think it's going to get. But the good news is you have the decision of when to cap out and say enough is enough. So
thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you. So
keep showing up, buddy. Keep showing up.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Keep doing the reps. Keep the discipline. Keep that mentality. Right? Because I will call you out when you're not shaving or when you've not drank water or when you've not been
shaved this morning.
I know you do.
Because I was like, if I don't, he's going to call me on it. Listen, man, the Yankees haven't won a World Series since they stopped making them shave.
Well, that's fair.
And there are so many historical examples of armies that lost when they didn't have to shave. So
there you go.
I'm shaving.
There you go, buddy. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Hold that discipline, buddy. I mean, hang on to it for as long as you can because it will wear off eventually, right? But I love this. This has been a really good episode. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. Yeah, dude, if you had one closing out message, what would it be? And then we'll end it. Where can people find you as well? Like if they want to follow your journey?
On Instagram, pauls_cabinetry.co. That's really where I'm the most active. I try to educate people on kind of the ins and outs of cabinetry. So it's kind of client focused, but I think a lot of tradespeople will find some helpful content there as well. Not a huge following, but I post somewhat regularly and it's good. paulscabinetry.co for my website, and that is it. I would say if I gave one parting advice, it's not the core values of my company, but just like my core values, and they're like many people's core values, unoriginal to myself and something we've ripped off of people that are much smarter, braver, better looking than us. And that's leadership by example, self-sacrifice for the greater good, and one man can make a difference. Those are things that I hold very close to my heart, and I think they're very, very true. And it's something I strive to, not accomplish, but strive to do every single day. And I want to instill that in my business, my family, and myself.
Love that, man.
Thank you so much, Lee. And I'll probably see you later this week for our coaching call.
Yeah, buddy. All right, man. Thank you.